And good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody doing this evening? I hope you're all having a great night. Long time no see, guys. Long time no see. Thank you guys for coming back for episode 2 of my new series, um, which is the true crime, true stories behind Hollywood movies um, that we been watching for years, folks, that a lot of people do not realize that come from true stories. The link would be in link is in chat, Mama Bear, if you'd like to join me up here. Thank you, Miss Brandy. I appreciate you. So the first episode went well, folks. I think everybody enjoyed it, and here we are back again with episode 2. And tonight, we're following up with, based on the movie The Town That Dreaded Sundown, about the Phantom Killer, the Texarkana murders, started back in 1949, and moving on from there. So, uh, I hope you guys are into it tonight. Please hit the like button on the way in the door if you don't mind. Unless you want to wait and see how this show goes. Either way, whatever you're comfortable with. And again, guys, once we get through this, please think about leaving me a comment in the comment section, folks, because the algorithm is the algorithm and it's important. So come on in, everybody. Come on in, get comfortable, grab a drink, whatever. And I can't wait. Welcome, Pink. It is so good to see you this evening. We missed you today. I don't think I saw you today, so thank you for joining us tonight. I do appreciate you. Miss Cece, the sweetest lady on the internet. Welcome. Good to see you. Miss Brandy, welcome back. Crime Time with Mama Bear. Oh, no worries, Mama Bear. Take your time. Who else do we have here? Mrs. M, welcome back. So great to have you back. I'm glad you had the time for me this evening, folks. Miss Pamela Griffin, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Come on in and get comfortable. I don't think we'll be seeing Dober Mom tonight, probably because they're out having dinner or a party for Dober Dad's birthday. So, once again, happy birthday, Mr. JJ Dober Dad. But that's okay. We will miss them. She can always watch the replay. Insomnia, Pink. What's that all about? No. So, did you get some sleep this afternoon? I hope. I definitely hope. Good to see you. Good to see you. Miss Heather should be joining us here in a moment. And we're still waiting for some folks to jump in. You're not supposed to do this at nighttime. Oh, really now? My boss just informed me I'm not supposed to do this at nighttime. Miss April Stoll, thank you for joining me.
You're done.
Good to see you, my dear.
You're done.
Anyway, thank you again. April, great to see you for joining me tonight, folks. Seriously, Jenny, what are you doing? Come on in, everybody. Get comfortable. Come on in, guys. Those of you that are here, talk amongst yourselves for a moment. I will be right back. I forgot something. Excuse me for one moment, everyone. Thank you, Cece. Hello, Governor. How are you?
Pretty good.
Long time no see.
Right?
Hello, Governor. How
What?
are you?
Pretty good.
Long time no see. Do you have two instances on?
Oh,
I'm hearing a repeat.
there we go. Got it.
Okay, no worries. I thought it was me. Sorry. Yeah, that was my granddaughter Cheryl. She jumped in the video in the because she was like, "You're not supposed to do this at night. You're done." Okay. Yes, boss. Yes, boss. She's not used to me doing it at night. She's getting ready to leave anyway. So, Alexis, welcome. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you guys are all ready. I need to change this too, by the way. Sorry, everyone. Stop. Where we go. Okay. Pamela Gribbin, good to see you. Pink. Where are we at? It's been a long week. Yes, it has. Thank God it's Friday, right?
Yes.
The
Yes.
boss,
Yes. Yes.
boss has spoken. That is a fact. Looks like he owns me. And she when she was born, I'm just kind of talking a little bit until everybody jumps in here. But when she was born, she did something that I didn't think anybody could do, other than my wife, of course. Which my wife got a little piece of it, probably half of it. But when she was born, she did something that surprised me completely, and she stole my entire heart from me and has never given it back since. So, it is what it is now. She owns that, and that's it. So that is, she's my entire heart. I love her to death. And I have 6 grandkids total. Okay. And I hate to say this out loud, and I'm ashamed of myself for saying it, but she is probably Papa's favorite. I'll be honest with you. She knows that. She knows that she owns me, and she's smart about it too. Because when the other kids are around me, the grandkids, like she doesn't push it. She'll come sit on my lap. She does get jealous. I'll tell you that much though. If they come, like Xavier, my grandson, my youngest one, if he comes over to me, she's like right there in front of, like, she's like, "Hi, Papa, I love you," hugs and kisses and all this stuff and blah blah blah. And he's standing there going, "Hi, Papa," and I'm trying to, like, both of them at the same time. It's like, yeah, yes, she does have a jealous streak in her, but she's pretty good most of the time. She allows me to spread the love. It is what it is. What are you gonna do? You gotta love. Yes, I have 7 children. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said, "Hi, Miss April."
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, I have 7 children and I have 6 grandchildren. I'm done with everything. That's more than enough. Christmas is a joke, and birthdays, forget it. Forget it. Where's everybody at? Come on, everyone. What the heck is that?
It's a gnome with a heart on it. See?
Oh, did you make that for Brandy?
I just made it because she's the only one that likes gnomes.
Let me see this for a minute.
You have to turn it around.
Yeah, my mother-in-law makes these things, by the way.
Oh, it's cute.
He's a little bearded gnome. She makes all sorts of stuff like this. There he is. What's up? On the mic. Good to see you, brother. By the way, folks, I got to thank Mr. David James was in here today. Miss Jennifer Thompson, welcome. Good to see you. And he gifted multiple memberships out today. So I have to thank him for that. David, thank you so much. We have a slew of meatballs in here now, folks. So come on in, folks. Jump in the sauce with me and Mama tonight. And we're going to tell a story that, turn your lights on because it might scare you a bit. But yes. And by the way, there's going to be some new stuff coming with the whole membership thing. We're going to have some, it should have been done way before, but I know nothing about this. If it wasn't for Mama Bear, we wouldn't have what we have as far as memberships go. So you guys need to thank her for that specifically. But There's going to be like perks and all sorts of little things. Bye-bye, sweetheart. I say bye, everybody.
Bye, Pepper.
Um, so there's going to be perks. There's going to be all sorts of things that go along with it, like they're supposed to. We'll be able to have specific videos and stuff like that for members, and all of the stuff that's supposed to be involved with that is going to happen, guys. So I'm going to start working on that. I've been teaching myself things that I need to know about this stuff. My moderators told me that if I don't, they're going to come to my house and slay me. So it is what it is, guys. I got to do what I got to do to survive. So, truthfully, they didn't say anything, but I need to because they do way too much as it is. But yeah, I'm so far behind on technology stuff, and like most of my stuff is bad. Most of the stuff I'm bad with is like graphics and stuff like that, understanding all that crap. And again, my ADHD does not allow for me to have the time in my life to do these things, so I'm working on that.
You're welcome, Cece.
I will no longer use excuses as to why I haven't done these things. I mean, I'll be honest with you, time is a problem for me because in between my streams, I live my life, and you see how I have stuff going on constantly around me. So it is what it is. So hopefully we will have little by little. I'm trying to put things together. As you all saw my new intro video from Miss Molly, which is amazing. That's going to be a permanent fixture on here. I'm trying to figure out how to work it in the right way. That's why you see two different things and different musics and stuff going on. So I'm just playing with it to see what works. Bear with me, folks. It's been a long year, and I'm finally starting to catch on to things. Thank God for the people that I have around me. Otherwise, I probably would have been done months ago. But I'm not allowed to quit. Nobody will let me quit. So
Nope.
here I am. Here I am. All right, we got 14 peeps in here as of now. I will get there. I am not in a hurry anymore. I'm not stressing about it anymore. To an extent, like I said, some of my moderators will just automatically do things because I didn't or don't know how. I don't have to ask for anything. I don't ask for anything, and they still do these things. So it is what it is, guys. I don't have a choice at this point. Like I said, I'm forced to do things because if I don't, then I feel guilty and all that fun stuff, which I'm not supposed to, according to certain people. But I do. So it is what it is. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Are we invited when you build the chicken coop? Absolutely, Pink. Pink is all about the chickens I talked about. Seriously, she is. She's all about my chickens. She supports them 100%. So I thank you. Hell, if I could send you guys eggs from them, I absolutely would. Thank you, Miss Cece. I appreciate that. Heather. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Where is everybody tonight? I need some peeps in here, guys. Go tell your friends, your family, everybody. Tell them come on in here with us. I got a good story I'm going to tell you if you don't know it already.
I got the short out there really early tonight, so there's no excuses.
I didn't even get to see it. I was so.
Neither one of them?
Listen. I did my stream earlier. I got off of that. My granddaughter was here, so I had to. And my mother-in-law was done with her time with her, so I had to take over. And then I got a phone call. I was on that for a while, and then my wife came home, and I dealt with that and did all the things I do with that after I straightened up some stuff around the house. And then I got another phone call that I was on as my wife walked in the door for almost 2 hours.
And then it was time for number 2.
Yeah, it's been a busy day. So no, I need to. I want to look at that because I love the shorts. But thank you for that once again.
You're welcome.
I do have the best mods, Alexis. And I've said it. I say it every time, and I will continue to say it. The absolute best moderators on YouTube. I really do. There's no two ways to look at that, folks. None at all. I mean, a lot of creators will be like, listen, I need you to do this, and this, and I'm going to do this and this. So, um, I don't do that, but they do this, and this, regardless of what I do. It's no lie. And I can't, I'm just so super lucky to have who I have. I'm telling you, they're very, very loyal. They watch my back. They're smart, amazing people. So what am I going to say? What am I going to do? The only thing I can do is figure out a way to set up a payroll and start paying them. You know what I'm saying? So you guys got to make this a huge channel so that I become a millionaire on here. And then everybody will get a paycheck like they should.
Ooh, paycheck. I haven't had one of those in a long time.
Yeah. What the heck is this? Connect YouTube on TV. No. Okay. No, I don't want to do that either. Okay, we're up to 18. I'd like to have at least 20 before I get rolling with this. So, I don't know if any of you guys have seen this movie, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. It came out in 1977. Initially. And there was a remake of it somewhere down the line. I have not found it yet, but it's a pretty good movie. You know what I mean? If you're into those kind of movies, it's pretty decent. But it tells the story of the actual story from 1949. 1 second, folks.
Martha Stewart had chickens that laid eggs in a variety of colors. The blue ones looked so beautiful. How in the world do you get a chicken to lay eggs in a variety of colors? I have never heard of that. Hey, I would take eggs for payment. So it's the type of chicken? Wow. Feed them Skittles. That's kind of what I was thinking, Heather. Well, I know there's like white eggs and brown eggs, but I didn't realize there was like blue, pink, purple, whatever colored eggs.
Okay. Sorry,
Hi.
guys. Something exploded outside my house, so I
Oh.
had to go look.
Oh,
I don't know what it was. If I hear fire trucks, I'm gonna guess that something's on fire soon. But it was loud, so I'm surprised you guys didn't hear it. It shook my house too. I don't know if you saw that whole. What was that? You have a very sensitive microphone, don't you?
to me? Yeah, apparently. Or he's
Yes.
just loud.
Oh, there he is. What are you doing, buddy? Hey, I see you. What's his name?
Little Bean.
Little Bean. That's right. Beanie Kitty. Little Bean. Kitty, 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 kitty. He's like, shut up. She's scratching me, dude. Leave me alone. Kitty, kitty. Aren't you the pretty kitty? Goodness God, he's big.
Yep.
I don't realize how. Whoa, there he is. Look at that, folks. That is a big cat.
Right.
Kiki. You know what's funny to me? I realized Mike just did it too. Like we could be the manliest men of all time. At least a lot of guys I know. When a cat walks on scene, it like empties every bit of manliness out of your body instantly. You're like, oh, look at that. There's a kitty, kitty. Oh my God, a cutie, kitty. You know what I mean? It's every time. Yes, he is. Kitty, kitty, kitty. You say, Mom, I want to play. I want in too.
Right.
What are you doing, buddy? This is what I love about cats. They don't care about anything. Oof. other than what matters to them. That's it. They own everything. They run everything. It is what it is. If you're in their way, move. I don't care.
Yep.
Wow, where the hell did everybody go this time? See, I'm not as I like dogs, obviously. I love dogs, but not as much as I do cats. And here's the funny shit. I did not like cats up until 10 years ago. Not at all. I could not stand cats until we got Oliver. Yep, you're there. I see you. Right there. And something happened. Something flipped inside me, and I was done. Ever since then, I am a severe cat lover. Where is Molly?
Okay.
Is Molly in here?
And now he messed everything up. Oh my
No,
goodness.
she's not in here. Molly.
Oh, I don't know where Molly is.
I always got a hunt for you. Where are you?
He's barely
Molly
talking.
cat. Molly cat. Molly cat. Yes. Yeah. The kittens forget kittens. It doesn't. That's how we ended up with a cat. I did not want a cat. And we got Oliver from a friend of my wife's. We go over there and they,
Uh-oh.
but hell no. We have a dog. We don't need a cat. She picked up this thing that was this big and sat it in my hand. And she goes, "Are you sure?" And he crawled up to my chest and was meowing that little tiny mew, mew, mew. And a fuzzy little gray thing. I got to find a picture to show you guys what he looked like when he was a kid. And I'm like, okay, we can take him. Let's go now. And I'm like, I wouldn't even give him back to her on the way home. I held him like this, So it is what it is. This is now the Little Bean Show, and we are his guests. Absolutely.
But he knocked my computer off, so I had to put him down.
Yeah. My wife calls babies or kittens. She calls them Kiki Moo-Moos. Kiki Moo-Moo. Whatever the hell. I'm like, honey, what do you mean? They're not cows. She was like, shut up. They're Kiki Moo-Moos. Okay.
Whatever makes you happy.
That's exactly it, too. I'm like, if that's what you got, it is what it is. Thank you, Cece. I appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Miss Heather. I appreciate that. All right, folks. Well, it doesn't look like, I think this is probably going to be where it's at for the night. Okay, and as I said, we are talking love at first sight. Yeah, that's how it was with me, and that's how it still is when I see cats, especially kittens.
Hi, Sunshine.
That's kind of what happened with me, Alexis. Absolutely. What's up, Sunshine? Thank you for joining us this evening. Let's see. I think I showed you guys the movie cover earlier to the movie, which again was called The Town That Dreaded Sundown, guys. And as I said, it's based on murders that happened in the town of Texarkana, which is split between Arkansas and Texas, if you didn't figure that one out. And where did it go? Anyway, come on. Okay, hold on, folks. Sorry. This is killing me. Completely lost what I was saying. Hello, Miss Brandy. I am so irritated. According to the cable guy, the internet guy, he said that this stuff is supposed to happen throughout today, and it'll finally work itself out. I'm done.
We'll see you tomorrow.
No, I mean I'm done with them. I'm done with them. Sorry, guys, not you guys.
No, I said we'll see tomorrow if it's.
Oh yeah. I hope so. Like I said, it better according to him. Oh, you'll never have to see me again, and this is it. This will fix you. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Let's see. Let's see. I should test it right now while I'm sitting here waiting. Speed test it real quick. Let's see what it says. Got my coffee and heating pad on my back. I am ready. Okay. All right. You sound like you're ready.
Yep.
All right. Let me see something real quick. Just out of curiosity. See if it's changed. And you know they sold me, Optimum sold me this little white box that's supposed to be like an internet extender. I plugged it in. I've had this same internet for 2 years now since I moved into this house. Okay. Plugged it in, and I've been thinking that it's extending my internet. Well, what it actually does is it cuts my bandwidth in half, and it does not work out here where we live at. But they're still getting $8 a month out of me for it, which that's done now because they don't work. So it's just a scam that they were saying. They know it doesn't work, and they still sell it to people. And it's like, are you kidding me? How do you get away with that?
That's crazy.
Every internet provider sucks. Not as much as mine does, Alexis. And anybody that's in here knows that's a fact.
I do.
I'm still not getting it. Look. I'm supposed to be at 400.
260.
They lied to me again.
Yep. I mean, I have T-Mobile, and it's better than what you got.
It's unbelievable to me. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 devices hooked up to this, and it's supposed to be, according to them, it should very easily handle 12 to 13 different devices. Lies. So irritated about that. Okay, looks like your numbers went back. David, there goes the internet. Yes, it is. Anybody that knows, there's not too many people in here that's going to know what I'm talking about, but a few of you will. And I have to say that I think my internet is almost as bad as Flacco's, and that's all I'm saying. Everybody that knows what I'm talking about will know, and we'll see it in the chat. But my internet is as bad as Flacco's, I think, if not worse.
Flacco's weird.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yes, I did say the F word, Brandy. You're right. You are right.
I have 22 devices on mine.
Well, supposedly mine is supposed to very easily push 12 to 13. I know, Brandy. I know. All right. So let's start off with this, guys. Welcome back, David.
Hi, David.
All right. Use a little bit of kickstart, and then we'll move into it slowly but surely. Can I help you? Okay. If you say so.
Okay, that must be the big kid because the little one left.
Yes, this is the big one.
This is Big Little Day now.
He likes to, well, when I do these stories per se, he likes these.
They're very interesting, and it teaches me a lesson.
Yeah.
I guess. I wish he would get that interested about math. What's up, PPR? Thanks for coming back. Thanks for joining us. All right. And we're off, everyone. Mrs. M said hi, little Dago.
Hi, Miss M.
Now you have to stop talking for a minute. Welcome, Lena. I hate that movie. It's so weird. Well, This
Hi,
is the
Lena.
true story behind it, Lena. If you've never heard it, it is a weird movie and it's kind of a creep out movie, but this is the true story that they based the movie on, just so you know. All right, and we're off, like I said.
Predator have always known as the Phantom Killer.
The incredible story you are about to see is true.
The legend of Texarkana's Phantom Killer fascinated America for decades. Eventually, it was immortalized on the silver screen.
What'd you do that for?
I heard something.
A film called The Town That Dreaded Sundown. And the conclusion as well. The Phantom Killer got away with it. No one was ever charged. And then just a dirt road on the outskirts of town. A man in a white hood approaches, holding a flashlight in his hand. But at least in the later to the day, another Lover's Lane attack outside Texarkana. This time, the couple was.
Come on, folks. How much is this going in and out,
Yep.
Mama Bear?
Bye. Well, hi. I don't know if he did that or if it did it on its own. Guess we'll find out, won't we? Too many gigawatts.
What did I do wrong to deserve these things? I want to know, like, why do I have to deal with this?
I don't know. But
Too many gigawatts. I don't have enough gigawatts. That's the problem.
21 gigawatts.
I'm so sick of this. I am so beyond. I am so sick of this. I'm telling you, I'm sick of this.
I know you are.
Can't do anything. Let's try this again.
That might not be a bad idea.
What? Move my modem to the roof?
Mm-hmm.
I can't because I'm plugged directly into it. Are you kidding me, Heather?
I mean,
If I
supposedly
put-
the higher up, the better.
I know. If I put anything on the roof, the whole system is going along with me, and you guys will never see me again. I promise you that much. I am so sick of this. I'm probably going to move the modem up because I have a shelf on top of my desk here. Maybe I'll stick it up in the corner over here. Maybe that'll help. I don't know.
Might.
This is
I don't know.
ridiculous. For a minute, I thought that the gummies were kicking it. Okay, Cece. Alrighty then. So we know what Cece does for entertainment.
Right?
We're learning things all day today. Miss Heather would drink Corey Taylor's bath water. She's from another planet. Miss Cece and her gummies. I mean, hey guys, we're learning a little bit everything about peeps today. It's all right. I love each and every one of you the same. You go up there with
it.
exactly. Yeah, it's gonna happen soon. I'm gonna have to move this
He's gonna
tomorrow.
be broadcasting from his roof.
Insane. Yeah. I don't put it past me. Don't think I won't.
Wouldn't put it past you.
Seriously, don't think I won't. If it'll work, I'll do it. I'll be cold, but I'll do it. Just sitting there like this with a parka on. All right, let's try this again.
Okay. And go.
People became very double murders. They started using the name Phantom in the local newspaper.
No one felt like here. And of course, we had everything locked, and we had, and this was a pattern that was repeated all over town. At that time, we had not had anything like this.
Tillman Johnson was
What
then
the
a
hell?
deputy sheriff on the Arkansas side.
People were frightened, only here, but for miles around here. When dark came, the kids came in. People didn't go downtown too much.
What the hell is going on now?
Life magazine gave it front page coverage, and hordes of policemen came to town. The state sent its most famous lawman, Texas Ranger.
Okay, I'm starting to think that I'm possessed.
I moved my head and it was doing something funky. I was like, whoa.
That was that. Why? Yeah. The hell is going on? It's this is absolutely ridiculous. 1 second, guys. I am so sorry. All right, I'm at the lowest definition possible. That has nothing to do with it, or it shouldn't. Good God. Okay, I'm not gonna. Sorry, guys. I'm talking to myself.
We figured. It's the gremlins. CC said
Oh,
it's
the gremlin. Yeah, hey, you're probably right. It's either that or it's possessed. It does its own thing whenever it wants to, as you guys know.
Alexa, I'm starting to think it is something. Or maybe Dago's cursed. One of the two.
I see it. I see it. Again, what? Something's going on now because this wasn't doing this earlier this bad. Do we have other things hooked onto this right now? It could be.
Well,
It
the
could
Alexa's
be.
on and the TV's on.
Go turn the Alexa off. Shut the back TV off. That one doesn't matter.
Because
See if that makes a difference.
Hold on. Turn off some of the power too.
There.
Alexa.
But the one and only break in the case was the work of TEXARKANA.
I got down there after they had
Caught the
Right, Sunshine?
He thought that's what we were picking him up. He said, hell, I know you don't electrocute people for stealing. Nobody had said a word to him about it.
still mesmerized by the case. He's the only surviving lawman. His are the only files.
Sweeney never did anything.
But Sweeney's wife, Peggy, did. He's poly. She talks about the murder of Paul Martin, Joe Booker, and admits
Quite a bit of information was later confirmed.
that's all the cops said. Instead, he went for car theft, getting a long sentence as and triumphed again.
As frightened as the people in the young couple still continued to park on the roads after this.
And all the information and
Represents generations who
this day they tell about the Phantom Killer.
when he became a probation officer, he started digging for information and Buell Sweeney.
Every time that he got out of it, he would get another offense and end up back in.
In 1992, Bledsoe drove to a halfway house in Dallas where Sweeney was supposed to be.
So this elderly man kind of, I don't know, well, that'd be funny. That was
Bent old man in cowboy hat. Marched out to the street. Phantom was gone. Months later, but by then the old con had a nursing home.
his whole demeanor did change when the subject also being married, which I felt was unusual. That's the only reason I was 100% sure that it was Yul Sweeney that committed of the Fillard murders. And then
Huey, car thief, habitual criminal, longtime con. In the end, a lot of the evidence does seem to point to him, and thus solved. Well, maybe not. Over the years, relatives of murder victims have received anonymous phone calls from a woman apologizing for what she said her father had done. As far as anyone can determine, Yule Sweeney never had a daughter.
I don't know. That's a big thing. You know, if Sweeney didn't do it, we can find somebody that did do it.
The reason this is called a mystery is because it fits all the molds and the ends get loose.
Today still looks pretty much the same. And if you should ask people here on the streets what they believe happened to the Phantom Killer, most would say that he is still and is walking free.
And there is the basis, yeah. The basic.
A sleepy Arizona.
Good God. Sorry, guys. The basics of it. What the hell is going on tonight with everything? What is wrong? What did I do? What did I do? Oh, guys. Sorry. This is a disaster. My apologies. And I lost my... 1 second. Oh, there it is. I got it. Okay. Now, this is... What the heck is this? Yeah. Okay. Initially, thank you, Sunshine, for asking that. Initially, 1949 was the original. Okay. Seems like your modem has mainline THC. Yeah, it's done something. I don't know, guys. It's what it is. I give up anymore.
All channel challenges.
This is ridiculous. It's embarrassing. I'm so sorry about this. I'm afraid to load anything at this point. Swear to God, where is all my downloads? 1 second, guys. There we go. Okay. I promise you guys that this will get better if I have to unalive somebody at optimum. Something will happen here because this is not correct, nor is it fair. 1 second.
Been eating beetle nuts? Ew.
What the hell are beetle nuts?
I don't want
Wait.
to know.
I don't even want to know. Forget it.
It's coming from David. I don't want to know.
I don't want to know it either. I'm done. You're right. All right. Are you gonna let me load now? Okay. All right. Now.
If it'll work, Alexis, go for it.
Yeah. Go ahead. Please do.
No, it's a Sprite. Sorry, Mike. I don't drink adult beverages.
The year is 19...
All right. Cross your fingers, everyone, please. So I shouldn't be nervous about putting up a video. You're a good boy, David. All right. Keep them fingers crossed. Here we go.
46. The Second World War has only recently ended, and Americans still find themselves in celebration that the long and bloody conflict is finally over. Nowhere is this feeling of elation more profound than in small-town America, who had their already tiny populations gashed due to the draft sending all able-bodied men off to the military. Two such towns were the quaint little farming communities of Texarkana, Texas, and Texarkana, Arkansas, which join one another right where the state borders meet and are often referred to jointly as just Texarkana. By February of the new year, these twin cities were looking for a return to normalcy. But unbeknownst to anyone living, find themselves embedded in a horrific series of murders that would shatter the feeling of post-war optimism and bring what would become one of the most infamous cases in American history right to their doorstep.
Thank you, Miss Cece.
"25-year-old Jimmy Hollis and his 19-year-old girlfriend, Mary Jean LeRae, exited a local movie theater and got into Mr. Hollis's Chevy drive home. They soon discovered that they weren't quite ready to call it a night and decided to go and park the car on a local lover's lane, which was just off Richmond Road on the Texas side of town. This was long before the era of Netflix and chill, so young couples looking to be intimate would often go and park on secluded back roads called lovers' lanes that were usually very private. After parking the vehicle, Jimmy and Mary quickly settled in to get comfortable with one another for the next hour or so. Suddenly, just 10 minutes after they'd arrived, a man appeared on the driver's side of the car, shining a flashlight into the window and ordering the young couple to step out of the car.
I'm sorry.
Aww.
What's the matter?
I said, don't anybody move, breathe, swallow, anything.
Right. David James with the first super chat of the night. Thank you, my friend.
That's awesome.
Very much appreciated. Yes, sir. That is amazing. Damn, David, I love you. I do. That's going to definitely help out down the road. I don't understand either why they hold this stuff for a whole month.
Yeah,
and I don't understand why they take the amount that they take out of it. That's what kills me, the whole 30% thing.
Yeah.
That's insane to me, but whatever. Thank you so much, David. I appreciate you, sir, very much.
He wore a white sheet over his head that the two later theorized to be a pillowcase with holes cut out for the eyes and mouth. Initially, Jimmy believed this was some targeted prank and remarked that the stranger, quote, had the wrong guy. However, in response to this, the hooded man aimed a pistol up to the window and replied, "I don't want to kill you, fellow, so do as I say." Realizing now that this situation was much more dangerous than they first believed, Mr. Hollis and Miss LeRae did as the stranger asked and stepped out of the vehicle. When they were outside of the car, the man ordered Jimmy to remove his pants, which he did, only for the assailant to abruptly strike him across the head with the butt of his gun, the force of which was so great that he believed Jimmy had been shot. Seeing this as a robbery that was quickly turning violent, Miss LeRae grabbed her boyfriend's wallet out of his discarded pants and emptied it out to show the man he wasn't carrying. The attacker, unfazed by her pleas, proceeded to strike her alongside her head as well, knocking her to the ground. He then ordered her to stand back up and told her to start running up the road. Terrified and dazed from the blow to her head, she began running as fast as she could and frantically searched for help, which she was unable to find. The attacker soon caught up with her and asked her why she had ran. When she responded that he told her to, he called her a liar and again struck her with the weapon, knocking her back to the ground. He then got on top of her and proceeded to sexually assault her. Minutes later, though, he was surprised by a set of headlights in the distance from an approaching car and quickly ran away, leaving the traumatized Mary lying on the ground. Miss LeRae stood back up and ran a half-mile before she was able to finally find help from a nearby home, where she called the local police. Meanwhile, back at the scene, Jimmy had regained consciousness and stumbled up to the main road, where he was able to flag down a passing car. The motorist left Mr. Hollis on the side of the road, but drove to a funeral home a few miles down the street, where he used a payphone to call police. Officers arrived on scene to find a still dazed and badly injured Jimmy stumbling alongside the road. Mary was picked up by officers as well, and the two were taken to a local hospital for treatment, where it was revealed that Mr. Hollis had suffered a fractured skull from the blow to his head. Despite the traumatic experience they had just endured, both claimed to have a clear memory of the events that had transpired. However, when they gave their statements to police, there were some key conflicting details between their accounts. Both stated their attacker was around 6 feet tall and carried a flashlight along with his pistol. They also gave similar accounts of how the attack itself had unfolded, but some key differences remained. Mary claimed the gunman was an African American and in his early 20s, whereas Jimmy stated their attacker was a Caucasian man in his early 30s. Due to these contradictions, and the fact that a young couple being so brutally attacked at random in a small town like Texarkana seemed completely unbelievable, police theorized that the two knew their assailant and were simply trying to conceal the perp's identity. This belief, plus the lack of any physical evidence at the crime scene, made the investigation into the attack pretty much dead in the water before it even began. Soon, though, officers would come face to face with the grim reality that Jimmy and Mary were in fact victims chosen at random, and that despite the undeniable horror they had endured, they had likely been spared from a far worse fate. Just over a month later, a motorist passed by a well-known lover's lane named Rich Road just south of Highway 67 morning. Here, he spotted a 19
Okay, who moved? Sorry, guys. Damn it, folks. I think I know what caused this now. I see it. Okay.
And soon identified the bodies as belonging to 29-year-old Richard Griffin and his 17-year-old girlfriend, Polly Ann Moore. Mr. Griffin was slumped across the steering wheel with his hand still resting on top of it and had been shot 3 times in the head. Miss Moore was lying in the back seat face down with a single gunshot to the back of her head. An investigation of the area surrounding the car revealed blood splatter in some of the patches of grass nearby, as well as on the outside of the vehicle. This led police to theorize that both victims had been killed outside of the car, and that...
What's wrong, Heather? What's the matter? Is anybody there? Hello?
Just around the corner from where the Oldsmobile was discovered, no one had seen it.
Where are you guys at? Okay, just making sure.
Anything or heard any gunshots. Police were also unable to determine if, like Mary, Polly had been sexually assaulted, as her body had been washed and embalmed by the local coroner before it could be looked at by a medical examiner. The couple had only been together for 6 weeks, and despite the substantial age difference, none of their friends or family were believed to have any issue with them being together. They were last seen by Molly's sister, who had dinner with them at a local cafe the night before their bodies were discovered. Now concerned there was a gunman running around targeting couples at random, police in Texas and Arkansas both launched a citywide investigation with the help of the FBI. Additionally, the fabled Texas Rangers were called in for assistance, with one particularly charismatic and famous ranger by the name of Manuel Lone Wolf Gonzalez becoming the de facto leader of the team. Manuel was an interesting man, known for his dashing good looks and his reputation as a maverick who would often brawl with suspects before placing them under arrest. He also had an attraction to speaking with the media, and loved making any kind of statement that would get him on the front page of a newspaper. During the early days of the investigation, shortly after arriving in town, he confidently declared to the reporters of Texarkana's newspapers that he wouldn't leave until the suspect was arrested or killed. A bold claim to be sure, but one given with such gusto that many couldn't help but believe it. Unfortunately for Ranger Gonzalez and the people of Texarkana, it was not a promise he would easily be able to keep. In both cases, there was a troubling lack of physical evidence, and the only witnesses to the killer, Mr. Hollis and Miss LeRae, could not agree on the details of the suspect and were considered unreliable. Police turned to the public for help and offered a $500 reward for any information leading to the killer's arrest. But this had the opposite of its intended effect, with many calling in false leads in hope of claiming the reward, which caused police to chase their tails. Investigators desperately hoped they would be able to find this madman before he struck again. Tragically, though, that would not be the case. At 6:30 in the morning, a Mr. and Mrs. G.H. Weaver were driving down North Park Road with their young son when they made a ghastly discovery. A young man was lying dead on the side of the road. He had been shot 4 times. The family sped off and went to a neighbor's house to call 911. When police arrived at the scene, they immediately feared this was the work of their phantom killer. The body was identified as belonging to 17-year-old Paul Martin, who was a former resident of Texarkana that was in town visiting his parents for the weekend. He had last been seen the night before when he picked up his friend, 15-year-old Betty Jo Booker, from a dance where she had been playing the saxophone in a local band. Miss Booker was not at her home, and a search party consisting of law enforcement and local citizens quickly mobilized to try and find her. Sadly, everyone's worst fears were confirmed when at 11:30 a.m. her body was discovered behind a tree almost 2 miles away from where Paul had been found. She had been shot once in the chest and once in her head. Mr. Martin's vehicle, a 1946 Ford Coupe, was discovered almost 3 miles away from where Betty Jo's body had been found, with the key still in the ignition. The similarities to the previous attacks were certainly striking. Both victims had been shot by a .32 caliber pistol. Both had been parked in a well-known lover's lane just prior to the attack, and it was believed that Betty Jo had been sexually assaulted. However, there were some key differences. First, they had been taken quite a distance away from the vehicle before they were killed, unlike previous attacks which took place just outside of the car. Police theorized the killer had led them some distance into the woods, where Paul attempted to fight off the assailant and give Betty Jo a chance to escape. There were signs that Mr. Martin had valiantly fought against his attacker, and this would also explain why his pants were not removed like the previous male victims, as well as why both of them were found so far away from one another. Mysteriously, Betty Jo's saxophone was not found in the vehicle or anywhere near her body during the initial search of the crime scene, and it was theorized that the killer had taken the instrument to try and sell. Unlike the previous attacks, though, evidence was also found in the form of latent prints on Martin's vehicle, but without a suspect to compare them to, they were all but useless. Like the other victims, neither Paul nor Betty Jo had any known enemies. Both had grown up in Texarkana and were lifelong friends who remained close even when Paul moved away to northern Texas. These murders were an absolute shock to all who knew them, and they were mourned dearly throughout the community, with the band Betty Jo Booker had played in disbanding and never playing a show again.
He looks like a 12-year-old kid.
And by this point, citizens of Texarkana were in a complete panic. A deranged killer was targeting random people who were just sitting in their cars not bothering anyone. On April 16th, the Texarkana Daily News ran a headline that read, quote, "Phantom Killer eludes officers as investigation flames pressed." This led to the murderer being dubbed the Texarkana Phantom. And much like a phantom, he seemed to be able to appear and vanish at will. Bowie County Sheriff William Presley would later state in an interview, quote, "This killer is the luckiest person I have ever known. No one sees him, hears him in time, or can identify him in any way." Posses were formed by the local communities who would go out and patrol the streets at night, and kept a particularly close eye on the roads that were known lovers' lanes. Police even attempted sting operations, planting young-looking officers and sometimes even their own teenage children in vehicles on quiet streets, which they closely watched, hoping to bait the killer out of hiding, though these attempts ultimately proved unsuccessful. Stores quickly sold out of guns and ammunition, and the reward money was tripled to over $1,500, which again led to several false leads being called in to local police. Weeks later, the killer remained at large, with the town seemingly held hostage by the crazed murderer who would just appear from the darkness. Many teenagers and young adults decided to keep their hormones at bay and began staying inside the house during the late hours of the night, where it was safe from the killer stalking their town. Or so they thought.
Yeah, in a sense, Lena, it is kind of like Zodiac in some ways, and it has been kind of referred to as, like, you know, at some point somewhere I had read in a crime journal that Zodiac copycatted this scenario here, but there's a lot of differences still at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So but yeah, Lena, you're right. It is in a sense, in a lot of ways, the same way. So, yeah, it's Texas. It's right on the they border each other, David, Texas and Arkansas, and this town is kind of like right there. Yeah, Berkowitz too, in a sense. Exactly, exactly. Which, you know, going back to what we've been talking to lately, guys. When I showed you guys the Gainesville Ripper and how I kind of attributed that to the Idaho 4 situation, it almost seems like some of these guys may read up on each other in a sense. It sounds stupid to say it like that, guys, but you know what I mean? Like they kind of like learn from each other. It's weird. Now, obviously, a psychopath's mind is a psychopath's mind, you know, and it's a psychological thing that is not there. You know, chemically, they're just way off. So maybe that's what the deal is with these guys, or maybe they really are reading up on each other and learning from one another. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, folks, but you got to think about it and see the facts. You know what I mean? I don't know, but just saying. But very, very, very good, good eye, Lena, to see that. Honestly.
Around 8 p.m. on a warm Friday evening, 37-year-old farmer Virgil Starks settled in with his wife, 36-year-old Katie Starks, and began winding down after a long day of work. His back was sore from the day's work, and Mrs. Starks brought him a heating pad to help ease the pain. As she went to their bedroom to change into her nightgown, Virgil sat down next to the radio and tuned into his favorite show, beginning what both thought would be a quiet evening at home. Minutes later, as she was laying in bed, Katie heard something from the backyard and asked her husband to turn the radio down. She then heard what sounded like breaking glass from the living room and got up to see what was going on. As she exited the bedroom and went into the living room, she saw Virgil standing in front of his chair, then suddenly slump back down into it as blood began pouring out the back of his head. Running over to her husband, Katie discovered he'd been fatally shot and quickly moved over to their phone to call police. Scared and confused as to what was going on, she was unable to see the shadowy figure standing outside her window, who took aim at her as she phoned police and fired 2 shots. One bullet struck her in the cheek and exited behind her left ear. The other struck her jaw, shattering it, with the bullet becoming lodged underneath her tongue. But miraculously, neither shot proved to be fatal. Falling to the ground, Katie immediately took notice and standing outside. The attacker moved from the window to the front door and began punching through the screen to try and enter. Standing back up, Mrs. Stark scrambled to retrieve a pistol from a nearby drawer, but the blood from her wounds was blinding her and she realized she wouldn't be able to fire the weapon accurately. Having failed to open the front door, the killer made his way around the side of the home and began climbing through a side rear window that led into the Starks' kitchen. Mostly blinded and terrified she was going to die, Katie decided to make a break for it while the killer was climbing into her home and ran out the front door as fast as she could. Barefoot and covered in blood, she ran over 100 yards to the home of A.V. Prater. Her stunned neighbor answered the door and Katie exclaimed, "Virgil."
Guys, 1 second, please.
Virgil's dead before falling over from exhaustion. Prater grabbed a nearby shotgun and fired a shot into the air, which alerted another neighbor by the name of Elmer Taylor, who quickly came over to see what was going on. Mr. Prater told Taylor to grab his car, and they laid Mrs. Starks down in the back seat before Taylor started driving her to a nearby hospital. Miraculously, Katie remained conscious the entire ride to the hospital despite massive blood loss. And in case her sheer badassery wasn't obvious enough by this point, on the way there, she reached into her mouth and pulled a gold tooth out of her broken jaw and offered it to Taylor as a reward for driving her. Police were alerted after her arrival and converged on the farmhouse. They went inside to discover the heating pad Katie had given Virgil had set the chair on fire that his body had slumped into, but were thankfully able to put it out before it spread to the rest of the house or burned any potential evidence on Mr. Starks. The scene was described by investigators as a river of blood, with Betty Jo's blood and broken teeth lying on the floor from the living room all the way out the front door. But with no sign of the killer in the home, the phantom had once again evaded their grasp. Blockades were set up around Highway 67 in hopes of catching the perpetrator as he was trying to flee. And while some men were stopped for questioning, this ultimately didn't yield any results. Shoe prints were found leading through Katie's blood, and police discovered 2 flashlights at the crime scene that did not belong to the Starks. No fingerprints were found on either one, but it was determined that less than 100 of this Brandon collar flashlight had been sold in the city of Texarkana, meaning there was at least a chance they could narrow down the buyer. Unfortunately, none of the stores that had sold the flashlights were able to pinpoint the identity of the person who bought them, leaving police back at square one. In a final desperate attempt, the Texarkana Gazette ran what would be the paper's first color photograph on the front page, showing the flashlight and asking readers if they knew anyone who had bought one like it. Several leads were called in, but one by one these were also eliminated, and this promising piece of evidence turned out to go nowhere. It is worth noting, though, not all evidence pointed to this even being the work of the Texarkana Phantom. Most obviously, the choice of victims. Virgil and Katie were not some love-struck teenagers parking alongside an abandoned dirt road, but a married couple who were attacked in their own home. This was also the first murder that had taken place on the Texas side of the border. Casings recovered at the crime scene did not match the caliber of bullet that had been used at the previous shootings either. This led to many officers speculating that this was not the work of the Phantom at all, but again, they had likely been chosen at random. The murder of Virgil Stark sent the already panicked town over the edge. It was bad enough that this killer could strike from the darkness of night and attack unsuspecting people parked in their own cars. But if he had become so brazen as to attack a married couple in their very own home, then truly nowhere in Texarkana was safe. Local shops that had already made sure to keep a hefty supply of guns and ammunition saw their stock get completely cleaned out. People began to set up homemade booby traps and alarms for their door in case someone tried to enter. Texarkana became as close to a ghost town as it could get. Unbeknownst to all of these people at the time, however, the murder of Virgil Starks would prove to be the Phantom Killer's final crime, as he would soon fade back into the darkness as quickly and suddenly as he had emerged from it.
Right.
This left police with the unenviable task of trying to identify this enigmatic killer with scant evidence and few witnesses. And try as they did, the unfortunate truth is this investigation was likely doomed from the start.
And understand that at some point, guys, most everybody believed that this was a police officer doing this because of the way that he was getting away, appearing and disappearing, and nobody could find him. There was nothing to lead to him. Nothing. No lie. I've read up on this. I don't know how many different ways, different times, and different versions of it. There was nothing leading to this guy. He left and he made no mistakes. Nothing, which is why a lot of people thought that he was the cop, because he didn't make mistakes. You know, he was doing everything that you could possibly do to cover his tracks. And at this point, you know what I mean? And I think somebody got close to who he was. Mind you, this is still unsolved. Excuse me. I think somebody got close to who he was, and that's why he stopped, which makes sense to me. Very calculated, very cold, the way he did this, as you can see. So, yeah, CC, right. Just saying.
In the aftermath of the Phantom's crimes, police were faced with an incredible dilemma when beginning the investigations. Like we observed previously, almost no evidence outside of shell casings and some latent fingerprints was recovered from any of the crime scenes. Additionally, the panicked state of the town led to several false leads being called in that proved more distractions than anything else. It was common for police to be called to a home where a prowler was supposedly spotted, only for it to be a stray cat rummaging through a trash can outside or some other unremarkable explanation. The fear of local residents also made things harder in more ways than just this. Everyone in Texarkana, man, woman, and in some cases child, was now walking around armed and afraid. One officer later described the eerily tense state of the town remarking that any time he drove to someone's home to ask them questions, he had to show up blaring his siren as to not be mistakenly shot by a frightened resident. One incident even took place where a bartender shot a patron in the foot who showed up unannounced to the tavern looking for a drink. This would have been difficult enough for a police force working together in perfect harmony, but the ragtag group of investigators searching for the Phantom Killer was basically as disjointed a group as could be. Many of them resented Texas Ranger Manuel Gonzalez, as they felt he was more concerned with the attention he was receiving from the local and national press as opposed to solving the crime itself. And there was ample evidence to support this belief. Ranger Gonzalez would often take credit for work other investigators had done, and present their findings to local news outlets as though they were discoveries he had made. In truth, despite inserting himself as the public face of the investigative team, he contributed very little to the investigation itself, preferring to remain at the station and give press briefings, or to go out and give interviews on the radio where he would often leak details of the case publicly that many other officers wanted to remain private. This further muddied the waters of an investigation that was already working with very little, wasting valuable time for those who were actually out in the field doing the work Gonzalez was taking credit for. The de facto leader of the investigation, being a man that very few of his colleagues actually respected, resulted in a fractured approach to the investigation and a lack of coordination between the various camps of officers, which no doubt lowered the odds of success further than they already were. Despite his bold claim that he would remain in Texarkana until the murderer had been caught, 3 months after the killing of Virgil Starks, Ranger Gonzalez would leave the town never to return. He retired from the Texas Rangers a short time later, where he then pursued a career, ironically enough, in Hollywood. This isn't to say the investigation was entirely fruitless, however. In fact, several suspects and persons of interest were identified. One of them, a man by the name of H.B. Tennyson, who had the unfortunate nickname of Duty, was a student at the University of Arkansas who took his own life by ingesting a cyanide pill on November 6, 1946. In his suicide note, Tennyson confessed to the murder spree in Texarkana, and physically was a reasonable match for the suspect given the information investigators had. However, further examination into his whereabouts during the murders revealed that he could not have been the killer, and was likely giving a false deathbed confession, as we've seen happen in other cases covered on this channel. Another lead was a man in Corpus Christi, Texas, who walked into a music store and attempted to sell the clerk a used alto saxophone. When the store clerk told the man she would need to speak with her manager before agreeing to any such purchase, it caused him to become very nervous and flee the store just when the manager was summoned. This made the store owner contact police, and 2 days later the man was arrested at a hotel after purchasing a .45 caliber pistol from a local pawn shop. In his possession, officers found a bag of bloody clothing, which he claimed was from cutting his head during a bar fight. The clerk at the music store also identified him as the man who had attempted to sell the saxophone to her, but no instrument was found in his possession or in his hotel room. Police interrogated the man over the course of the next several days, during which he adamantly denied involvement in the murders and gave alibis for the night of each attack. These alibis were checked out, and it was determined he was in fact telling the truth, eliminating him as a suspect. Oddly enough, months later in October 1946, Betty Jo's saxophone was recovered not far from where her body had been discovered, in an area that law enforcement confirmed they had searched the day her body was found, meaning that it was very likely the killer had returned to the crime scene to dispose of it. Many other suspects looked into by law enforcement resulted in similar patterns. Police believed they may have a solid lead, but then would ultimately rule out the person, with one lone exception who is considered by many to be the true Phantom Killer, Ewell Swinney. Swinney was a petty criminal with a history of counterfeiting and car theft. Max Tackett, a rookie with the Arkansas State Police, noticed that on the night of Betty Jo Booker and Paul Martin's murders, a car had been reported stolen, and that stolen vehicles had been found abandoned shortly after the previous 2 phantom attacks. Just over a month after the murder of Virgil Starks, he noticed a stolen vehicle parked in the lot of a local shopping center, and decided to stake it out and wait for the suspect to return. To his surprise, he didn't find a 6-foot-tall armed man, but a thin woman who stood barely over 5'3", 21-year-old Peggy Swinney. Upon her arrest, she was taken in for questioning, where she made a startling revelation. Her husband, Ewell, whom she'd only recently married, was in fact the Phantom Killer. She took it one step further and even claimed to have been present on the night of Virgil Stark's murder, and claimed to have waited in a car nearby while her husband went to the couple's home and committed his crime. Police were understandably skeptical at first, but credibility was initially lended to her story when she revealed information that wasn't known to many members of the public at the time, such as the location of some of Paul Martin's belongings which had been discarded at the scene. Officers even discovered that in the woods near Betty Jo's body, a heel print from a woman's shoe was found, with police originally thinking it belonged to Betty Jo, but now realized it could also have come from Peggy. Understandably, officers wanted to speak with her husband, but she revealed he was currently in the city of Atlanta, Texas, trying to sell a stolen vehicle. Officer Tackett contacted the police chief in Atlanta, where he discovered that a man had recently attempted to sell a stolen vehicle to one of their locals, who reported the incident to law enforcement. Tackett drove there and interviewed this resident, who he observed had a very unique appearance that included cowboy boots with a matching hat. This local said he wouldn't be able to remember the car thief's appearance, but the shrewd investigator realized there was a good chance that the car thief would remember the man given his distinct look. Officer Tackett then asked the man to accompany him to several public spaces, hoping that perhaps the suspect would become nervous seeing him accompanied by a police officer and would try and flee. The gamble soon paid off. Walking into the Arkansas Motor Coach bus station a few days later, Tackett observed a man run out of the back of the building after he arrived and began giving chase. The officer ran into a rear alley and caught the man climbing up a fire escape. The man who'd fled was Yul Swinney, and suspiciously, when Officer Tackett confronted him on the fire escape, Mr. Swinney begged him not to shoot. Tackett replied, quote, "I'm not going to shoot you for stealing cars," to which Swinney responded, quote, "Mister, don't play games with me. You want me for more than stealing cars." He was arrested and taken to the police station, where he again alluded to his arrest being for something more severe than car theft, asking if he was going to, quote, "get the chair." And that, quote, "I know you have me here for more than cars." It had been just over a month and a half since the shooting of Virgil and Katie Starks, and Officer Tackett, as well as many of his colleagues, believed they had finally caught the elusive Phantom Killer. However, problems quickly began developing not long into their investigation of Swinney. For starters, Peggy's confessions became more and more contradictory the more they talked to her. Police believed this was due to her trying to minimize her involvement in the killings, but soon began losing trust in her story. A short time later, a letter Peggy had sent to her parents was intercepted, where she told them that she had lied to investigators during her confessions, and eventually she would go so far as to recant her statements entirely. Even worse, Mr. Swinney's fingerprints did not match the latent prints recovered from Paul Martin's vehicle, which meant the investigation hinged entirely on circumstantial evidence. And despite his early incriminating statements, Yul soon realized that police didn't have much evidence on him for the murders and quickly stopped talking. Knowing they would have little odds of success charging him in the murders, prosecutors elected to throw the book at him for his car thefts instead. Mr. Swinney was a three-time felon, meaning he could be given the harshest sentence for car theft allowed under Texas law, which was life in prison. Many officers later said they believed this was effectively an unofficial plea bargain, as they lacked evidence to charge him officially with the murders, and Swinney desperately wanted to avoid the death penalty. He was convicted in 1947 and would spend the next 26 years in prison, but was eventually released when it was determined one of his prior charges, which had been used to justify his extreme sentence, was void due to the fact he had been denied legal representation. Yul would continue to deny his involvement in the Phantom murders for the remainder of his life, until he passed away in a Dallas nursing home at the age of 77 in 1994. To this day, the Texarkana Moonlight murders have never been officially solved, and despite exhaustive investigations into the killings, little new evidence has been found. Many still believe Swinney was responsible for the murders, but with him and all of the investigators now dead, it is unlikely this case will ever be solved. Ironically, in the years since, the killings have become something of a local legend for the town of Texarkana, keeping the mysterious Phantom story alive long after he himself had faded back into the shadows. This is Crime Spot, and thank you for watching.
This, again, is the actual movie, like, cover to the movie. Hold on. Let me back that up so you guys can see that.
Years since, the killings had become something of a local legend for the town of Texarkana, keeping the mysterious phantom story alive long after he himself had faded back into the shadows.
Sorry, I went back too far.
This is Crime Spot, and thank you for watching.
And this says in 1976, a slasher film titled The Town That Dreaded Sundown was released, featuring a dramatized version of the Phantom Killer's spree and subsequent investigation. I'm sure you guys can read it, but it was a commercial success and is credited with being an unofficial start of the slasher genre of horror films that would gain popularity during the 80s, 90s. It has become a popular film with the residents of Texarkana and is played at film festivals every year during the month of October. Drive-ins and all that kind of stuff. They love it. It's kind of creepy, folks. Katie Starks recovered from her injuries and would go on to remarry. She passed away in 1994. At the age of 84, she is buried between Virgil and her second husband. Now, this is the woman who got shot in the mouth and pulled her gold tooth out and handed it to the guy for driving her there. Like, this is a tough woman. I'm sorry. Obviously, she lived to be 84 years old after getting shot in the mouth. I mean, come on, folks. The new movie, or the movie, not the new movie, I'm sorry. The movie itself that came out in 76, what they did with the movie, they changed the story up a bit. And they basically, for those of you that haven't watched it, they tell basically, it's kind of cool how they did it. They show the town watching the movie at the drive-in about the Phantom Killer type scenario. They're okay. And then people start being killed. Okay. And then what it ends up being is it's obviously later on. It's not 1949 anymore, or 1946. I'm sorry. And there's copycat murders that are going on from it. And there's a whole base story behind it and so on and so forth. That's where they twisted it and turned it up. But it's a really interesting story, folks, because of the simple fact it was never solved. So I'm going to venture to say that anybody that was involved in this, whether it be the killer or whatever, is probably no longer with us. 1946, and this person was probably middle-aged at that time. So I'm sure that he's gone. But the fact is that these people lived with whoever this person was for however long after, unless that person passed away. And that was a thought through an investigator. Is everything okay?
I'm fine. It's my daughter's over here to my side being a spaz.
Oh.
I'm oldest kid.
What's that?
I'm oldest kid.
Oldest.
Oldest kid. Hello, oldest kid.
Hi.
Yes. Okay. But it was talked about through other investigators that the person, because the murders had stopped, but that the person may have passed away, been incarcerated for something else, but they just stopped or moved on to somewhere else. Okay. But ever since then, though, everybody in Texarkana, in that region over there, is like paranoid. You know what I mean? But it's funny because being that they're so paranoid, it's been talked about by reporters, investigators, that everybody in the town, for years after that was so paranoid. But they play this movie and celebrate this at Halloween time all over the town. It's like, okay, if you say so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very interesting, though. I love this story. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but I do. I like you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
the mystery behind it, all of that stuff. I mean, it's really, really kind of interesting. Let me see here. Where did this go? Now, it's been called multiple different things. They've called it the Phantom Killer Murders, the Texarkana Moonlight Murders, um, multiple things. I had something else I wanted to show you guys, and as soon as I find it, I'm going to show it to you. Where it is. And like I said, the reason why it's so interesting to me is because it is actually truthfully unsolved, period. Which is odd for something like this to go on as long as it does, or as long as it has. It's different to me, at least. All right, where is this at? And I found it. They showed a picture of um, Sweeney, or Sweeney, however you say his name, and then they showed a picture of a drawing of a sketch of the killer and him, and then they showed a picture that they had drawn of a sketch, a full body sketch of this person that saw this person standing in front of them. Okay, and this Mr. Sweeney was literally a foot smaller and about, literally, it looks like 75 to 100 pounds smaller than the actual person that was seen with the thing on his head and all that. And it's like, how do you mistake this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, back in 1946, the crime tools, I guess we can say, investigative tools, were nothing like what we have now, as you know. But yeah, there's that. Where the hell did it go? God, I can't stand when I can't find things in here. I'm getting there, though. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Had you ever seen or heard this story before?
I
Mama Bear?
watched the trailer earlier, and I think I've seen it. I'll have to rewatch it and see.
Okay. It was in the 80s, if it was like that. That's how I first saw it. I think I was 12 or 13 first time I saw it, which, that was kind of cool to me.
Right.
But this movie set the tone for every other movie that came out. Friday the 13th, Halloween, if all of those slasher films, this was the first one that set the tone for all those movies to be made. And like, this movie scared me. What's that?
I said that makes sense.
Yeah, and it scared the living hell out of everybody, guys. Back then, that watched it when they were younger, because they weren't used to movies like this.
Right.
Just like when The Exorcist came out. When The Exorcist came out, people were literally passing out in the theaters and like over exacerbating themselves, hyperventilating themselves to passing out, because society had not been introduced to this type of a film. You know what I mean? To be honest. And so that's a little piece of history that I thought was really interesting when it came to this.
Where's everybody going?
I don't know. It looks like they're...
Bye, Cody. Maybe everybody was just saying bye to Cody, and Cody was saying bye to them. So it looked like everybody was leaving.
Here.
Have a good weekend, Cody. All right. Good, April. I need some backup. Molly Cat's been missing today. Haven't seen her all day.
Hello, Molly. I didn't know you weren't here.
Oh, there she is. I said her name and she popped up.
Molly Cat, Molly Cat, Molly Cat, Molly Cat, Molly Cat. Remember that song from Friends, Smelly Cat?
Yeah.
Let's redo it. Molly Cat, Molly Cat.
Aw.
Sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, Miss Molly. Hope you feel better. I'm sorry. No, I can't. Now I feel bad for making jokes. Whatever. God, I'm always the butthead. I'm sorry, Molly. I didn't know. You're not getting sick or anything, are you? I hope not. All right. Let me see. So, again, as we all know, I'm trying to find, there was a part of the story in here that explains something else. What do you got going? The flu. Good God.
I hope it's not the flu.
Me too, because the flu is not fun this year at all. It's been bad. Really, really bad. All right. So, I don't know if you guys can see it very well or not. This is the map of Texarkana. And like I said, for those of you that didn't know, I explained what Texarkana was all about, why it was named that. Believe it or not, there was a lot of people that didn't know what it was, why it's named like that, so on and so forth. And like I said, there's a line basically that goes right through this that splits Texas and Arkansas in half, which is what it's all about. So, trying to find. This is considered and listed as a urban legend, okay? But it really happened. I don't understand. Urban legends, from what I understood, are just things that people have talked about, but they don't really happen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know why. Your microphone is super sensitive.
Sorry.
It's not your fault. I have my speakers and they're loud. So, what kind of mic do you use?
Just whatever's on my laptop at the moment.
Oh, that's why. Yep. That's why. Mine was like that too. Super duper sensitive. Okay, so just to bring this back up, the police or authorities, I guess you could say, believed that this killer killed 5 people within a 10-week period of time. Hold on, guys. Good Lord.
Oh, don't say that, April. I don't want to hear that. Keep it over there on your side of town. Over there on the east side. Don't bring it over here to the west side. We'll be good.
All right, sorry. Is it going around? Strapping in? Okay. 5 people in 10 weeks. 3 others, including his first 2 victims, survived their attacks. The first attack took place on February 22nd of the 46 on a secluded road outside. You guys know all that. The Jimmy Hollis, Mary Jean, Larry which I don't know if you guys caught that. The one guy that they thought that they caught was trying to sell the saxophone is because they thought that the saxophone had belonged to that Mary Jean Larry. But then they said they found the saxophone later on in a spot that they checked weeks later, I guess, which doesn't make sense to me if they already checked it. But I think what happened was that they just didn't check that area and it was always there. Because I don't understand somebody taking the saxophone and then bringing it back. That makes no sense to me. I've never seen or heard of anything like that. So it is what it is. Influenza A, that's caca. Don't want bad stuff. So yeah, I can't remember who it was that said it. But somebody was talking about Berkowitz, David Berkowitz, who is the oh my God, I just had this and now I lost it again. Jesus, what a night, guys. I am so sorry for the way tonight went. Unbelievable. The trombone part of the movie. What are you talking about there, Lena? Oh, yeah. And there's a part in the movie that's really kind of screwed up. Where there is you guys, there is a pretty good sized knife attached to the slide on that, and this guy stands there with the slide on the trombone and does that and plays the thing and stabs this girl in the back. It's pretty disturbing. I'll be honest. Look,
You're cutting out really bad.
huh?
You were cutting out really bad.
Yeah, I gather. I've seen that thing buffering. Just so you guys, for those of you that don't know, the son of Sam was David Berkowitz. And he used the gun, or they also called him the 44 caliber killer, by the way. And his killings, it's weird because somebody said that he may have done what he did because the movie about this came out in 1976, as we know. He started his killings in 1976 as well. So it was talked about that the son of Sam or David Berkowitz or whatever you want to call him, once again, like I was talking about before, and it's something that I've been looking into, may have watched this movie and decided, let's go do that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense. I mean, I'd like to think that these people are just so completely insane that they don't need to watch a movie to do this. And, that kind of makes me feel like, I don't know, it just doesn't fit to me that you watched a movie and decided you're going to become a murderer or serial killer. You know what I'm saying? That's not. But lately, with all the stuff we've been doing and the true crime and all that kind of stuff and the different cases we've looked into and so on and so forth, more and more and more, I am seeing that these mimic each other in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. I guess if you want to see it, but it's disturbing in my opinion. But anyway, I've started wondering though if Berkowitz or son of Sam may have seen this movie one day and it flipped a switch in his mind and he went on about his business doing what he did, because it's very emulated the way that he did these things compared to this crime. But he was caught.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So
interesting.
You seem like you're beyond tired, Mama Bear.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
It's okay. I understand. If you're more you're more than welcome to hit the hay if you would like to. I have no qualms with that by any means. So yeah. Anywho, this is the actual picture of Jimmy Hollis, who served. This guy. This is what kills me. This is the guy. Okay, this guy looks like Barney Fife to me, you guys. Don Knotts. That is exactly when I look at this guy. That's doesn't he though?
Yes.
He looks like Mr. Furley. I'm like, I can't fathom it. I mean, that doesn't mean anything, okay? Because we've seen people that, well, hell, look at Brian Koberger. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know why anybody would admit to something like this if they didn't do it. And as they said, and you guys heard, his fingerprints did not match any of the fingerprints that they had from this. I thought it was quite odd that his wife was involved the way she was and things like that. So I can't put his kitchen people that seeks out and there are people out there, guys, that seek out the negative attention you get from admitting to being a serial killer.
Oh yeah.
You know, it happens. It's actually considered, if you look it up, it's actually considered a disorder. Believe it or not, it's a registered listed disorder, guys. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, so that I do believe, let me see here. Many people believe that the local man, Yul Swinney, was arrested in 1947 for auto theft, was the Phantom. His wife confessed to as much at the time, but by law, she could not testify against her husband. I'm sure you guys know how that works too. She later reputed her confession. Sweeney remained in prison as a habitual offender until 1973 and died in 1994. He lived a long time without ever implicating himself in the murders. So, in 2014, James Presley, a Texarkana native, wrote what he considered to be the definitive book on the murders, The Phantom Killer, unlocking the mystery of the Texarkana serial murders and the story of a town in terror. My brother was. Oh, you guys are
Losing you, dude.
about COVID. Yeah.
Is all I hear.
Book, if you guys like to read, if anybody's interested in it, check it out. They have that's it for the story, folks. Again, like I said, it's never been solved. So that alone in itself is what I think caught my attention with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just anything like that's that cold, as far as a cold case goes, blows my mind. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's the story, guys.
Very cool.
Sorry, there's not more to it, but there just isn't more to it other than watching the movie itself, and you know what I mean. So if anybody has any questions, comments, theories, or anything, I'm here. You're more than welcome to call me or just put something in chat, whatever. But yeah, it's interesting to me the way this all went down and so on and so forth. So, and again, of course, because it's a movie. So,
Right.
As I said, there's not too many movies in this type of genre that are not based on some sort of a true story somewhere. It's all good, April. It's all good. I know everybody's saying Mama Bear's sleeping with her eyes open. Everybody's super quiet. Other people took off. I'm boring. I know. It's okay. I got it, guys.
I have narcolepsy. It's not you.
I'm just messing. It's okay. I'm teasing you guys. I'm tired too, believe it or not.
bet you are.
But anyway, now I see you guys. I'm here. It's okay. I'm just messing with you guys. So, what do you guys think of this? I mean, honestly, what is your since we're all true crime people, what are your guys' thoughts on this scenario? Like I said, they didn't tell you. There's another one I was going to show you, but I don't want to like drag. It's a long one too, and I wouldn't want to start it without finishing it, and it would drag out. So, like I had said, there had been multiple people that thought that this was a law enforcement officer for the town, okay? Because he got in, got out, was never like able to be traced. There were fingerprints left behind, partial fingerprints, I do believe, that never matched with anybody that they had in the system. But in 1946, that system was not, yeah, we had nothing compared to what we have now. So, you know, take that for what it is. But footprints wise, they could never solidify anything. And like when he would leave, like the book part of it, when you read that, it tells the story. Of course, books are always better than anything you see TV wise, but the way it was explained in the book was like the dude, the guy, whoever the killer really was, like some people were like in the area when this went on and would like, he'd be here, like where I'm standing. And then, you know, as he did what he did and people were like going to go after him and poof, he's gone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he just vanished. Like how do you, and they had said so many times, like, how does he move so fast? Where does he go? How does he get away? Blah, 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 blah. So then, like I said, people started to, you know, accuse him of being a law enforcement official. There was a couple. One time, the Texas Ranger that they were showing you that was all about himself, Mr. Bain, Hollywood guy, they thought it was him at first, which, of course, was completely ridiculous. But one of the deputies in the office said no. They had a story that was written, and when they accused the Texas Ranger of it, he said, you know, of course I'm not the one, blah, blah, blah. You guys are insane. And there was a deputy there that said, no, they didn't care for him at all because he was very lazy. He didn't do any kind of police work. He just wanted to be in the limelight. You know what I mean? And there was a sheriff for the town, a sheriff's deputy that said, hell no, it ain't him. He's too damn lazy. He won't leave the office. So I thought that was kind of comical. Red says it was the woman. It's been said that it was a woman. And everybody argued because of the size of the person. But here's the thing. Women are more agile than men. They move, they can move quicker, they can bend faster and different, you know, they bend better and flex better than we do, most of them, I should say. And they're quiet, you know, not like bulky, big old Viking men. Like this guy was a big person, but I've seen large women, tall women that are, yeah, you're sneaky, right? Little ninja skills, you know? And it was talked about probably, I want to say it was like 15 years afterwards. They reopened this case and they looked into, I believe it was a female bus driver that drove for the local school. Because the way it went down, it's been a while since I read this, but like, these things would happen, and then this woman would just happen to be in this area all the time. Every time something would happen. So, of course, you know, 1 + 1 is 2. Everybody said it's got to be her because they wanted somebody to be guilty of this scenario. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Red, you think that, are you talking about the woman as in Sweeney's wife? See, that was talked about too, that nobody would ever believe in 1946 that a woman could do this, okay? Because that just was unheard of. Women don't do those things and so on and so forth.
Yes, Brandy, we know you're a ninja.
Yeah, you're a ninja. And so it was said by more than two handfuls of people because he was good at is stealing shit. And he was, I guess, from what I understand, he was just kind of an idiot. Okay. And they accused his wife of being the murderer and not him. And supposedly he didn't know about it. I don't know about that one. I was kind of like, okay. There were different hypotheses that they came up with over this thing. And over the years, it's been insane. Hello, Kiki's Eyes. Oh my God, hey. What happened? Why'd you say, oh my God, Kiki? Are you just now getting here for this? Is that why you said, oh my God? You were late twice today. That's it. I'm done. It's over. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Red asked who the last one was that survived.
The woman with the gold tooth? Hold on. Where did it go? Where'd she go? Let me find her name for you. Virgil Starks was killed. Oh, okay. Katie Starks.
She was the last one to survive.
Yeah. Katie Starks, in the first week of May, the Phantom Killer attacked what are his last. Here we go again. And there may have been more victims. Can you hear me okay?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. These were the official last victims, okay? But they have talked about different separate murders that have happened in the area that they never attributed to this because the MO was different with them. So it's not known for a fact if they were related to this or not. So it says that in the first week of May, the Phantom Killer attacked what are his last official victims, a husband and wife, in their farmhouse northeast of town. Virgil Starks was killed by 2 shots in the back of the head, but his wife, Katie, survived in spite of being shot twice in the face and having to run down the street to a neighbor's house to get help. So that's Katie Starks was the... Is that what you're trying to say, Red, that she might have been the one? Yeah, it's okay. Do not forget to leave a comment. Please do, guys. I know tonight was a disaster, and I'm sorry for this. I promise you. Well, I can't promise because...
Stop it.
Unless I can strangle the person that runs Optimum Internet, I can't promise anything. But
yeah.
I'm going to try to make them better. I'm sorry. I feel bad. It's embarrassing that this stuff happens. It really is. Otherwise, it would be so much better. But it is what it is. Yeah, always the kids. Kids come first. Family comes first. Real life comes first. Yes, they always come first. One of these days, I will have the right kind of internet and the right kind of everything, and it will not be issues, guys. I promise you that. I will do my very best to make that happen. So,
yeah, well, there you go. I think I'm going to hop off here and go to bed.
You do that, and I will talk to you sometime tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking about doing a live stream tomorrow during the day, of course, and then I'll be done for the weekend after that if I do it. I can't promise that because I get my granddaughter gets thrown at me without even talking to me. So if that happens, I can't just, you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens, but I'll let you know. You have a good night. Get some real sleep, and I appreciate you, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Good night, everybody.
Have a great night.
Thanks.
So, all right. All right, Mama Bear's gone. We can talk about her, whatever we want to do. We can run up her credit card, have a party. Come on, guys. You ready? I'm just kidding. I'm probably going to get slain for that one tomorrow. But um, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Lena. This is for, like I said, for those of you that didn't know, I've started a new series where I'm running evening streams, and I'm trying to tell the true stories of a lot of the Hollywood movies that we've seen. They're all based on some type of a true story, whether it be loosely or very close to the story. And I had talked about doing something like this in October, and good old Miss Heather brought it back up again not too long ago. And I'm like, well, I've had some people demanding that I do evening streams again. So here we are. And it's going to go on for a while, folks, just forewarning. Because there's a lot. There's a whole lot. And at some point, I would like to possibly entangle some of my some paranormal stuff in this too, guys, for you guys to, for those of you that are interested in that kind of stuff, throw that in down the road somewhere, depending on how this goes, if I can get everything to cooperate with me. So it's a plan. We will see. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, any ideas? Again, guys, comment section, please throw me some comments. Yes, Sunshine said yes. Yes to what, Sunshine? You have a question, comment, theory about something? What do we got? Give me something, please. Anything. Lena, Kiki's eyes. Keelani didn't make it back, did she? Or is Keelani in here? Or was she in here? Yes, no, maybe so. By the way, for those of you that did notice or haven't here, I'd like to congratulate formally Red for becoming a moderator. Thank you, Miss Heather. Appreciate that. For becoming a moderator. Like I said earlier today, if you guys didn't catch it, Red has been regular in here, so that's one of the most important things. And you know what? That was actually talked about too. They had some trouble, but they didn't push this woman because we can tell she's kind of a tough cookie. I mean, the woman pulled a tooth out of her mouth and said, "Thank you for taking me to the hospital, and welcome, Tiffany. You missed it. That's okay. You're here now. That's all that matters." Handed a tooth from her mouth to somebody and said, "Thanks for taking me to the hospital." You know what I mean? So they didn't mess with her too much, but it was brought up that she may have possibly been involved because of the way her story went down. But I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't care how tough you are. I couldn't purposely shoot myself in the face twice with a gun just to prove something. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. Michelle Wilkinson is in the house. Hello. Welcome. I did not know you was here. But anyway, back to Red. Yes, Red is in here on a regular basis. And I the reason why I decided this, I've been thinking about this again. I swear to God. Miss Heather has the other half of my brain or something, because I think about stuff and she says it. It's weird to me. It's very weird, but it's whatever. It works. During the stream this morning, I had been thinking about this. The stream before, the last time Red was in here and was like really putting it to test with questioning things in the investigation we're doing. And I'm like, he would make a good mod. You know what I mean? And I didn't know if he would want it. And because he keeps everybody in here on their toes. We all think something's going on with something, and he will throw up something like, "What about this?" And we all kind of stop and go, "Yeah, okay." So, he keeps us honest, and he keeps some level in here. So I like that. So why not? You know what I mean? I think he earned it. So what if the couple was doing these things and them having it out ended it all? That's a very huge possibility. Red. You know what I'm saying? What if we solved this crime, guys, in 2023 that happened in 1946 that nobody else could figure out? Could you imagine that? There's no way to prove any of it and no way to do anything with it because of where everybody's gone. But I'm just saying, can you imagine that? That'd be amazing. But yeah, that is one of the main reasons why I wanted Red to be a moderator, and I am glad, and I hope you stick around, Red, because like I said, you bring some balance to this channel, and we respect you. And Red knows how to argue a point about a theory or a basis of something that we're talking about respectfully, which is very important in this channel, and keep it logical to the point where, you know, we can say something and what he says could even sound completely crazy, but there's logic behind it. That's why I respect Red like I do. So thank you for accepting the moderator's position, and I appreciate you, and I know you'll do a great job. So congratulations, my friend, if it's that important to you. Plus, very importantly, I have nothing but female mods, so I needed at least one more guy, you know. Just kidding. Nothing against the ladies, you know, the angels that I have. They're amazing. I have the best moderators in the world, so. But yeah, I appreciate you, Red. I do. I would love to solve the Villisca. You know what? I know, Michelle, you brought that up a few times. I mean, that's something I think we probably could look into. There goes my camera doing its thing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that story. There's you're back. Welcome back, Star. Good to see you. And you do have a wrench, correct, Star? Can't see it from where I'm at because I'm not looking at the YouTube side. All I can see is StreamYard. So you do. It's an interesting one, Red. It very much is. Here, I'll show you a little quick thing on it. Michelle has talked about it before. Months ago, actually. The Villisca axe murders. Quite a story, folks. Let me see if I can find something to show you guys. It was crazy. It split an entire town in half, you guys. No lie. It is one of the most notorious ones out there, and it's still unsolved. Bailey Sarian has touched on it. I don't know if you guys know who Sam and Colby are. They're younger ghost hunters type groups. They've gone into it, done. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, I got you on that one too. I got you on that one. Here, let me show you a little glimpse of this here real quick, guys. See what you think. Let me touch on this one just because of the interest that I have in it. It doesn't have anything to do. I told you guys that I don't mind doing cold cases at all. We might look into this one just for the fun of it, because if you're into this stuff, this would be interesting and kind of fun to look into. So let me give you a quick glimpse of it too. The house is pretty hardcore haunted according to quite a few ghost hunters, but it's all on what you think about that. You know what I mean? All right, let's see what we got here.
In the middle of the night on June 9th, 1912, a family of 6 and their 2 visitors were murdered in Villisca, Iowa. They were bludgeoned to death by someone with an axe, and to this day, their murders remain unsolved. Villisca was a small town in southwestern Iowa with a population of between 2,000 and 2,500. In this town,
I got you,
Moore
sunshine.
family, the father Josiah Moore, the mother Sarah, and their 4 children: 11-year-old Herman Montgomery, 10-year-old Mary Kath.
Oh yeah, it has been a while, Satin. One second, guys. I have a problem here. Hold on. Bear with me.
Arthur's youngest child, Paul, age 5. On June 9th, prior to the night of the murder, Sarah Moore had coordinated an annual event at the family's Presbyterian church called the Children's Day Program, which started around 8 p.m. The entire family attended the event. When the church services ended at approximately 9:30 p.m., Catherine Moore invited her 2 friends, Ina Mae Stillinger, age 8, and Lena Gertrude Stillinger, age 12, to spend the night at their house because the sisters were afraid to walk home in the dark. Mr. Moore called their residence to ask the parents' permission and got a hold of their older sister Blanche, who said their parents were out, but that she would give them the message. At around 9:30, they left the church by foot and arrived at their house between 9:45 and 10 p.m. The next morning, their neighbor, Mary Peckham, was in her yard hanging laundry around 5 a.m. when she noticed that nobody was awake at the Moore's house yet, which was unusual. At about 7 a.m., she became concerned when nobody had come out of the house to do the regular chores. She approached the Moore's residence and knocked on the door. When no one responded, she attempted to open the door, but it was locked. She went ahead and let the Moore's chickens out of their coop, then called Josiah's brother, Ross Moore. When Ross arrived, he tried knocking and shouting through the door, but got no response. He also couldn't see into the house because the window shades had been pulled down. He eventually used a spare key to gain entry into the home. Inside, he discovered 2 bloody bodies covered by a sheet in the bed of the guest's bedroom, and blood splattered on the headboard of the bed. He ran outside and immediately phoned Joe's hardware store and asked an employee to alert the town's marshal, Henry Hank Horton, that something terrible had happened. Hank arrived and found while rummaging through the Moore's dressers. The axe used for the murders was partially wiped clean and lying against the wall in the guest's bedroom, with a 4-pound slab of bacon wrapped in cloth sitting next to it. The 2 bedrooms that the Moore family occupied had axe marks on the ceiling. Investigators knew these marks were from the attack because there were dust particles from the ceiling on the beds. They also concluded that the marks on the ceilings were not in correlation to hitting the victims. This led some to speculate that the twins were in the crazed frenzy. Sarah Moore was the only one who had obvious slices in her unrecognizable face from the sharp end of the weapon. The rest of the victims had been beaten to death with the blunt end of the axe. The parents had their heads struck at least 20 to 30 times, and there was evidence that the killer had gone to their room twice. After the murderer delivered the fatal blows to everyone's heads, they went to the parents' rooms to ditch. Josiah Moore was crushed completely from his upper jaw and up. There was blood, brain tissue, and skull fragments spread all over the top of the bed's headboard. In the guest room, Lena Stillinger was hanging a third of the way out of the bed, her nightgown pulled up above her waist, and her underwear thrown under the bed. Blood and brain tissue was on her pillow. She also had a blood spot on the inside of her left leg above the knee, and it's been speculated that the killer pulled her down the bed. Some think she may have been the only one who woke up because of the position she was in, while others think the killer pulled her down after he killed her. Her sister Ina was on the right side of the bed, facing left towards Lena, with her hips rotated so that her buttocks was hanging out of the bed towards the direction of the lamp that was sitting on the floor next to the bed. Because of this display, it's believed the killer placed them this way for his viewing pleasure. However, doctors concluded they were not sexually abused. All of the Moore children appeared to have slept through the killings and were killed by blunt force trauma to the head. The marshal went back outside to Ross Moore and said, "My God, Ross, there's somebody murdered in every bed." He went back into town to get the doctor, and while he was there, made the grave mistake of mentioning the murder to some townspeople. Word spread like wildfire. Operators threw on the all-call switch that existed in the early 1900s and sent out a message letting everyone know about it. Stores closed down, neighbors and friends told everyone they could, and it didn't take long for the Moore's property to become a madhouse. At least 100 people invaded the home to gawk at the bodies, running and shouting from room to room, possibly disturbing evidence. The marshal tried to get the situation under control, but when he'd get people out one door, more would come pouring in through another. No one would listen, and the coroner didn't arrive until after the townspeople did. Luckily, The marshal and two doctors had gone in the house first and managed to complete an examination of the scene before people started barging in. Two finished cigarettes had been found in the attic, leading investigators to believe that the killer hid out there until the Moore family got home and went to sleep. It said that nobody woke up during the murders. Some believe the killer may have drugged their food so they would stay asleep while the killings took place. Another theory is that the killer delivered a single blow to their heads that was powerful enough to kill on the first strike, and then went back to the parents' room a second time to bludgeon their faces. There are two main theories to the bacon found wrapped in a cloth. The first is that the killer meant to steal it when they left. The other theory was that the slab of bacon had been used by the killer as an artificial vagina, judging from the way they positioned the Stillinger sisters and that the bacon was next to them. However, no fluids or hair had been found at the crime scene. At the start of the investigation, there were several suspects and people who gave confessions to being the killer, but all were eventually dismissed as suspects. There were axe murders happening in other states as well, along the trail of the Southern Pacific Railroad. Whether it was the same person or not, the axe murder sites were easy to reach if you were traveling by train. Many of the axe murders were done the same way, with whole families being killed and bludgeoned with the blunt end of the axe. Some houses even had the windows and mirrors covered, like in Villisca. It took 2 years for a trial to take place for the Villisca murders. It seemed like every person in town had someone to suspect. Everybody was scared, and the sense of peace Villisca had was gone. Days after the murder, you couldn't find a gun or door lock available because they had all been bought out. Despite the many people who had been suspected, the prime suspects were Senator of Iowa Frank Jones, Reverend George Kelly, William Mansfield, Andy Sawyer, and Henry Lee Moore. Frank Jones was an employer of Josiah for several years.
Now, I'm sorry, guys. I always thought their suspect list is such a wide genre of different types of people. It just blew my mind. I mean, it really did. Just so you guys know, the whole thing with the bacon thing, it is gross. I don't know if you understand what they meant by it. Whoever did this did not SA anyone, because I think he believed he would have been caught that way. So doing what he did aroused him, and I think that's why they think that's what that was. I know it's crazy. I love Molly's reaction immediately, like, what the hell, or what the, yeah. So that's what that's all about, just so you guys know.
Until Josiah managed to open up his own implement company. It was after this that Frank and Josiah became competitive rivals. Their relationship became so bitter that they didn't talk to each other whenever they crossed paths in town. There was also a rumor, which had never been proven, that Josiah had an affair with Frank's daughter-in-law, which added contention to their already soured relationship. Frank became part of a theory that he had hired William Blackie Mansfield to kill the Moores. William Mansfield became a suspect of the Villisca murders 2 years after they happened, when he was suspected of killing his own wife, infant, and father and mother-in-law with an axe. He was also believed to have committed axe murders that took place in Paola, Kansas. The one who blamed him for the murders was Detective James Newton Wilkerson from the Burns Detective Agency of Kansas City, who had pieced together a story with the rumors of the town against Jones. Mansfield's family was found bludgeoned, axe wiped clean, mirrors and windows covered with clothes, and lamps on the floor by the bed. However, Mansfield was acquitted of the charges when his payroll records proved he was in Illinois during the time of the Villisca murders. Mansfield later sued Detective Wilkerson and received $2,225. Several months after the Villisca killings, a man named Henry Moore, who had no relationship to the Moore family, was convicted for the murder of his mother and
mind you, $2,225 in 1912 was a whole hell of a lot of money, guys. So that dude was rich. Yeah, Lizzie Borden is a definite one for sure.
grandmother in Columbia, Missouri, after killing them with an axe. A federal investigator believed he was responsible for the Villisca murders, as well as 22 other axe murders across the country. While he was never found guilty of the Villisca murders, he served 36 years of a life sentence for the killing of his mother and grandma. Andy Sawyer was one of the suspected transients. He traveled around looking
Exactly,
for work
Red.
and eventually found a bridge foreman and pile driver and asked him for a job.
Exactly.
He was hired on the spot. However, his behavior made his employer and the rest of the work crew worry. Andy had bought a newspaper to read by himself with the Villisca murders on the front page. He seemed very interested in the case and talked quite a lot about it. He also slept fully clothed while gripping his axe that he used to work the railroad. He apparently told the bridge foreman personally that he had been in Villisca that Sunday night when the murders took place and left town fearing he'd be suspected since he was new there. The bridge foreman turned him into authorities, but there was no real evidence linking Sawyer to the killings. It was also discovered that he had been arrested due to vagrancy in Osceola, Iowa when the murders happened. Another prime suspect in the Villisca murders was Reverend George Kelly. Reverend Kelly and his wife arrived in New York from England in 1904. He was a traveling preacher who preached across the U.S. at country churches. Kelly was well known as a sexual deviant who had mental problems. He was seen peeking through windows, and he had already been arrested for writing lewd letters to women who first wrote to him in response to a job offer. Reverend Kelly was a guest at the church the Moores went to on the night of the Children's Day program. The following morning, he had left by train around 5:19 a.m. When he heard about the murders, he became very interested in them, almost obsessed. In the following weeks, he started writing letters to authorities and family members asking about details of the murder. He even visited the crime scene and joined a team of investigators who just happened to be there at the same time. Some investigators thought it was strange how into the case he was, so a detective named Tom O'Leary wrote a letter back to him, asking him for details on the murder. Reverend Kelly's reply seemed far-fetched. He claimed to have been walking past the Moore's house when he heard the thud of the axe. He claimed the killer was disturbed by a couple walking by and had stepped out onto the porch until they had passed. He also said Mrs. Moore had reared up in bed before the killer struck. The main thing brought up against Kelly in court was that he was supposedly talking about the murder on the train that morning before it was discovered. A lot of people, including some authorities, were unsure of the credibility of his words because he had obvious mental problems. Kelly was arrested in 1917 and was put in jail all summer. When he was interrogated by three burly men, a state attorney, a sheriff, and James Risden, head of what would later be Iowa Criminal Investigation, they were shouting at him and threatening him, trying to get him to confess. Kelly said that God told him to commit the murders, saying, "Suffer the children to come unto me." After the confession, he recanted almost immediately. Kelly was tried twice, and both juries found him not guilty. Jury members, along with many other people in Villisca County, still believe that somehow Frank Jones was behind the murder, and somehow used his influence to frame a mentally ill man. Kelly also had a bruise on his cheek during trial, which jurors thought he had gotten during an interrogation. Besides being mentally ill, he was 5'2" and 119 pounds, with a quiet and calm personality. They didn't think Kelly mentally or physically fit the criteria for the crimes committed at Villisca. The investigations lasted for many years, but as time went on, the murder became a cold case. Whoever killed the Moores and the Stillinger sisters took their secret with them to the grave. Over 100 years later, it remains one of Iowa's most perplexing murder mysteries.
And that is the Villisca axe murders, folks. It's very interesting, to be honest with you. Because they have nothing.
We're just going to try our best and ignore this nest stuff.
I wasn't talking to you, Bailey. They have nothing. Nothing at all in this case, folks. So, like I said, for those of you that weren't familiar with it, I figured I'd just show you a little quick thing on it. But yeah, it's definitely interesting, for sure. I would have no qualms, but here's the problem with some of these very old cases that are cold cases, guys. Excuse me. There's nothing to find on them that's not already put out somewhere. There's no way to look on for anything on it because, I mean, 1912. If there's anybody alive, first of all, they were a newborn. if anything, but they're no. So, and a lot of the stuff from back in those days, like evidence and stuff like that, there's nothing. So it'd be cool to try to figure out a way to solve it, though. Most definitely. And yeah, Brandy, you're right. The Lizzie Borden scenario. I mean, I don't know. I think she did it. A lot of people think that she had nothing to do with that. I think she did it. I really do. Sorry, that's just me. So there it is, everybody. So let's see. Compared to today, no one ever mentioned if any of this. Oh God, everybody probably smoked, Michelle. I think everybody and their mother smoked in 1912. The kids probably did. I think the dogs and cats that they had smoked back then. Honestly, I mean, everybody and their mother smoked something. Yeah. I think most people believe that Lizzie Borden did it. You know what I mean? It did. You're right, Red. The comment that was made about Frank Jones, because he was an elected official, he had power and he had the ability to do certain things, and it would make sense for the rich guy with power to do it and then frame somebody like the other way. Probably both, Tiffany. Back then, probably both. So, let's see here, folks. I was trying to think of what we could do for Monday night. And oh, I agree with that one, Michelle. On the Lizzie Borden case, I absolutely agree that her father drove her to do it. Hell yeah, Mike. Even the horses. Yeah, her father was highly abusive, and I absolutely feel like he completely drove her to the point that she snapped. And that was that. You know what I'm saying? And she went on and lived her life. I think she just stayed at what they call a maid, single for the rest of her life, if I remember that story correctly. So I don't think Lizzie had any sort of urge to be anywhere around a man after dealing with her father. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was no proof, Heather. But it was talked about pretty heavily that she was essayed by her father. Yeah, I was pretty sure, thank you, Michelle, that she never married, nor was she ever in another relationship that way, I was told. Like with a man. So I think she had a very, very bad outlook on men in turn, but she went on, lived her life successfully. I'm pretty sure, it's been a long time since I've read that story, that she had a business. She was a business owner, and it was successful in some senses. So she did well, I guess. So, but I wholeheartedly really do feel like she did that. You know what I mean? And in a sense, I kind of don't blame her because of what her father did. Not saying that what she did was right if she did it, but what I mean is, like, I understand her snapping like she did, because that's not a joke, any of that stuff. Welcome, Miss Gina. Good to see you, my dear. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's great to have you here. I'm almost done, sadly, but at least you found your way in. It's great to see you, hon. It's okay. Absolutely okay. Like I said, real life comes before anything that I do. I promise you, it's not a problem. Let me see here. So, as I do, I'm going to make this a regular thing. I'm going to give you guys choices. Hold on one moment, folks. No. Okay. One second. Everyone, let me see what it says here. So, let's see. I'm going to give you all a choice. Every time we do this, at the end of it, I'm going to pick two movies, and I'm going to give you guys a choice to pick which one you want. Let me see here. So, let's see. Let me see. What it gives me is oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew that supposedly the movie The Birds Hitchcock did was supposedly based off of a true story. I don't know how close that one is to it, but it is what it is. Oh, that's another one too that was based on the Texas Killing Fields. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie. That's based on true events too. So is the movie All Good Things, and you guys already know the story behind Silent Hill. So let me see. Where did it go? Where did it go? All right. All right, we're gonna do a poll. I bet the bacon was from the Reverend to the kids for the yeah, rubbing your hands together, huh, Mike? You ready for it? So do we want to check out there's a movie that came out, I can't remember the year. It hasn't been too long, but there's a movie with Johnny Depp in it that came out called From Hell. That was based on true events, okay? So that is the first one. And there's your poll. Now, the second movie that we're going to have to choose from is going to be The Conjuring, the true story behind the movie The Conjuring. So, this poll up right now is, do we want to check out the true story behind the movie From Hell? Or do we want to check out the true story behind the movie The Conjuring? We will definitely do that one too, Gina. That's coming up. Yes, that is the story behind From Hell is Jack the Ripper. I didn't know if you guys knew that or not. From Hell was a great rendition of it, I'll tell you that much. I mean, I love Johnny Depp in anything, but that was a good rendition. So, the first poll is up for From Hell or Jack the Ripper. Wow. Gotcha, Red. Oh, no, it's all right, Satin. I figured most people knew that. Figured most people knew that. There ain't too many people that don't watch Johnny Depp movies, so. We're eventually going to do both of them, April, but I have to pick one. One at a time. I have it too. It's a great movie. When we're done with this one, I'll do the poll on the other one. We'll see which one weighs more. Nutty Reverend. Sorry, I'm starving to death. I didn't get a chance to eat dinner in between everything I was doing, and I'm not going to tell anybody what I'm eating right now because I'm ashamed of myself for eating it. My son brought over a half a gallon of vanilla ice cream, and my wife had some peanuts, and we had some of that chocolate hot fudge stuff in the fridge. So I got a little tiny bowl of that. I shouldn't be eating it, but it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. You stop it now. It's really not good for me, Gina. I don't need this at all. But I have not had I put peanut butter and honey and vanilla ice cream. Ram. I don't think I would like that. Now, dark chocolate ice cream, the dark chocolate ice cream, I will put peanut butter in that and destroy that. Oh, cream. I see it. I see what you're saying now. Yeah. But I haven't had ice cream. Good God. It's been over a year. He was a squatter and probably stayed the night there among his victims. Look at what you got me into. Mint. I like mint chocolate chip ice cream. That's good stuff, Gina. See, I can't even. It's not even that good, you guys. I don't eat sugar anymore. Oh, Molly. All right, folks, let's see what this one says. Rocky Road is one of my favorites too, Kiki's. I love it. I love it. That's kind of, if I would have had the little marshmallows, I'd have thrown them in there too. It would have been vanilla Rocky Road. I think that's super probable, Red. I agree. I agree. All right. Let's see this poll. 83% said yes to Jack the Ripper, and 16 said no. All right, this is it. Now, The Conjuring, the true story behind the movie The Conjuring. Ed and Lorraine Warren, folks. Yeah. Now, this one's semi-paranormal, right? But the true story is not as paranormal as the movie is. See, Dago, Brandy knows what's good. Brandy put honey in it too. Ugh. I like honey, but not an ice cream. I'm sorry. That would be just like too sweet to me or something. I don't know. Cookies and cream is one of my absolute favorites. If I go to like Dairy Queen, or which has been a long time, but my favorite Blizzard is a cookies and cream Blizzard. Yes, Ed and Lorraine Warren are absolutely amazing people. I'm super mad that they passed away because I had always wanted to meet them. Being in cutting oral, actually, they have a son that is semi into it, and I think I might be able to one day, very possibly, meet up with him, and I'd like to talk to him at least. I had a lot of respect for those two. And again, I'm a skeptic, folks. I'm still a skeptic, believe it or not. Even being a paranormal investigator and a ghost hunter, I'm still a skeptic. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but you're talking about the sun, Gina? I've never seen his YouTube. I'll have to get that off you because I have never seen it. I saw a story one time. Or son-in-law. Yeah, that's right, Heather. Thank you. You follow him on Twitter too? Figures. Yeah, you're a horror buff, so you would. And I'll have to get that from you. That's, well, their son-in-law is the one that took over the museum and basically their, whatever they had left going on, or their lifestyle. That's what I understand, at least. One of these days I'm going to have to play. I don't think I played the clip that Molly sent me from her home for you guys. And one of these days, yes, I'm going to have to play that for you, because if I didn't already, because it stood the hair straight up on the back of my neck. And I've heard a lot of stuff, you guys. That one, that turned me sideways. I'll be honest with you. Sorry, Molly is putting the honey on ice cream like putting maple syrup on snow. Wait, what? What are you talking about? Maple syrup on snow? Did I miss something? Please tell me that. Brandy, I don't understand that. Well, it's nothing to see. It's an audio clip. And listen, folks. I've had people send me. You have no idea how much stuff I had. I had a computer before that was full of just nothing but that stuff, right? And I couldn't save the hard drive from it. So it's in that laptop still. A lot of that stuff, and it doesn't work anymore. So I think I probably could. You sent that to my email, right, Molly? That is how you sent it, right? Because it's been a long time since you sent me that. We don't get snow here. Yeah, I can't imagine anybody putting honey in a snowball, making a snow cone. So let me see if I can find it, and I will play it for you guys. It made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. I'm not lying to you guys. I'm not over exaggerating to you guys. I'm being fully honest with you guys. I was throttled. I wasn't expecting it because, like I said, people send me stuff all the time, okay? And I get things that I come to find out it's a door creaking or it's a dog panting. Somebody actually sent me this was about 8 years ago. Somebody had recorded this on a cassette tape and gave it to me to listen to, okay? This is a hilarious story. So it was a family that lived in a very old, large home. This cracks me. I forgot about this. Anyway, it was a husband and wife, and they had 3 kids. And they had the husband's brother and his girlfriend living with them, okay? So they started hearing things. The brother and they had like a bedroom built in the basement, right? And like a renovated basement. They put up walls and all this. So the brother and the brother's girlfriend lived in that room in the basement. I can't believe I'm going to tell this story. This was so funny. When I figured out what it was, I was done. I didn't know how to approach these people with this and tell them, this is what you're dealing with. This is the ghost that you have in your home. I had 3 people that I've worked with this stuff, my wife included. Listen to this. All right, Molly, do you remember what date you sent that to me on roughly? Probably not, because you sent me so much stuff that it's got to be way back in the beginning. Ah, this might be it. Wait a minute. What's the date on this? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe not. This is in January. Shit, I don't know if I can find it now. Nope. That's not it. That was... Oh, come on. Do you still have it, Molly, that you could send it to me? Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No. My recording 36 import. This is not it, I don't think. Anyway, let me finish this story. So they called me, and they're people that I know. And they asked me about it, told me what was going on, and they said that they hear this stuff at night, like all the time, throughout the week. And it's just these odd, strange sounds. And there'll be like shuffling noises and stuff, and it's only at night when they're in bed. So I told them, I said, listen, wherever you hear the noise come from, like set up I asked them if they had some kind of a voice recorder or something they could record it on. Well, they had one of the old school tape recorders, and they had an old school microphone, tiny microphone that you plug into the side of it, and it picks up. It's pretty decent, like sound. It picks up pretty decent sound, is what I'm saying. So I sent a link to my video on my channel just now, but yes, I have it also. Okay, thank you, hon, because I don't know where it went. I went all the way back to the beginning, and for whatever reason, your email stopped on January 7th, and I know it was before that. So I want to say it was back in October, November that you sent me that. So anyway, so he was like, okay, cool. And he set it up, set the little microphone up on a little thing that's sitting right next to him. And he put it on his dresser, he said, flat on his dresser. And I guess they have like vents in their walls, like midway up or something. It's a bi-level house and a newer house. It was built in like the 80s or something. So anyway, and recorded it for 2 nights. Okay, sorry guys, I'm exhausted, tired. That's why I look like I'm high or I'm tired or something. But yeah, I'm burnt out. So he records it for 2 nights, and then he comes over, brings the tape over. I was working at the time, dropped the tape off, and told Brandy whenever I get off work, check it out. It's crazy and this and that and everything else. And I was like, cool. So I first of all I had to find something to play it in. Okay. And I didn't have like a tape recorder. I had an old like boombox or something like that, I think, with 2 speakers on the sides, dual cassettes, and then it could be a radio. That's what I had. Welcome, Lori. Good to see you. And so I put it in that, and I set up my my laptop with a microphone sitting next to it, and I played it into my laptop. And then I had a program on that laptop that analyzes voice patterns, and it slowed it down or sped it up. I could do whatever I wanted to, and kind of like an editing program you would use for like computers and stuff like that. So I set it up and I played it, I played it once and listened to it, and I could hear noise, but I couldn't like make out what it said or what it was doing, the noise wise. So we played it in, recorded it into the computer, into the program, and I ran it through, analyzed it, and cleaned it up and did all this to it and everything like that, right? And I called Brandy. I'm like, all right, honey, come here. I said, we're going to listen to this together with headphones on and see what we hear. So, we're listening, and immediately we picked up like a moaning noise. Okay. But what I was doing with it is I had it running through an analyzer, and I would stop it every so often and break that clip off. And then again, and then again, and then again. And she's listening to it the whole time while I'm doing this. She was like, all right, now you take those pieces, and I put them all together, because every time it would make the noise for a minute, and then it would stop, and then it would do it again, and then it would stop, and then it would do it again, and it would stop. So I took all of those clips at one time, and we took them all out of the regular pattern and put them together as one piece. So we're listening to it, and she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, what in the hell is that? And it sounded like a female voice, or a female voice pattern, I should say, like what a female voice would sound like, a very high-pitched one. But every now and then there was a deeper tone to it in the background that we were picking up. So we tried to separate that, and we separated everything, so on and so forth. All right. Thank you, Molly. So we kept going through. We went through this for 4 hours, guys, and listened to this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Broke it up, did this, did that, so on and so forth. And then at one point, she was like, wait, stop, back up. Did you hear that? And we had put all these little pieces together, right? And I'm like, no. She goes, it said Jimmy. And I was like, what? No, it didn't. And she was like, no, it says Jimmy. My friend's brother's name was Jimmy. Okay, so we're listening again, and I said, it does not say Jimmy. She goes, I swear to God, on everything I own, everything we own, it says Jimmy. So I wasn't thinking about it at first, and it was running at like 1.75, which was a normal speed for the human voice. Right now, when I'm talking, she goes, slow it down if you can. So I went in and I backed it up, and I slowed it down 2 levels below, which I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it brought it down to 75.75%. So she goes, play the whole thing first, and then we'll break it up. I didn't have to break anything up. What it ended up, and I start playing it, and I hear the moaning, the high-pitched moaning sound, but it was really slow. And you could just tell that it was a higher pitch than, because it was going so slow. And Then I heard it. Then I heard it. I heard, oh, Jimmy, yeah. Oh, and I was like, what? She was like, I told you it said Jimmy. It was his brother and his brother's girlfriend getting down. And I'm like, and she's like, well, what the hell is the shuffling? I said, it's probably the bed coming off the wall or something. So they were hearing his brother and his girlfriend going to town every other night down in the basement. And it was coming up through the ventilation system. So it sounded all like distorted and everything, right? So I'm like, so how do I explain this to him? Right? Because when I slowed it down, guys, it was so clear. So clear. Like, it was ridiculous. It was hilarious. And we're laughing, busting our ass. And I was like, I want to call him right now and play it into the phone to him and ask him if that's what he was hearing. And she was like, go ahead. So I called him and I'm like, Dan. He was like, hey, yeah, did you figure that out? And I'm like, it was really, really hard. I said, but I think we pinpointed what you got going on in your house. And he was like, really, really? I said, yeah. And he was like, well, what is it? I said, here, do you want to hear it? I said, I broke it down with the analyzer and all sorts of stuff. I said, me and Brandy been sitting here for hours. He was like, cool. Yeah. So I put him on speakerphone and I said, all right, are you ready? And I took the headphones out and I put it on my computer and I blasted the speakers and I turned it on and he is sitting there dead silent. And I'm like, here we go. Push play. And it went on. It was like probably a 40-second clip, the whole thing, right? I pushed play and I just sat back and she's sitting there looking at me and it played and I hit, he didn't make a sound, guys. He didn't say a word and I hit pause and backwards and I hit it again. Played it again. Nothing out of his mouth. I did it one more time and he was like, Joe. I said, yeah. He's like, that's not funny, dude. And I said, what? He goes, how did you do that? And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, where did you get that from? I said, that is what was on the tape that you gave us. I said, what do you mean? How did I do that? That's what you gave us. He was like, no. That is not what I heard. I know what my brother sounds like doing his girlfriend. I'm like, and I lost a grip on my life laughing. And I'm like, that's what that was, dude. You're hearing your brother getting it on in the basement. That ain't what it sounds like coming up out of the basement into my bedroom. I said, dude, it's coming from the ventilation system through into your room in the middle of the night when you're asleep. What the hell do you think it's going to sound like? He was so pissed off that he hung the phone up on me. The next day he called me back and he was like, play that again. And I didn't know what he was doing. He was like, put it on speakerphone and play. So I had to play it for his wife. She starts busting up laughing in the background, like snorting and snickering. And he's still pissed. He's like, it's not effing funny. What are you laughing for? Blah, 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 blah. And that was the end of it. So I ran into his brother, Jimmy, at a Walmart, probably like 2-3 months later, right? And we're walking through Walmart, and him and his girlfriend are standing in the clothing aisle. And I walk past, and Brandy goes, look, it's Jimmy. Immediately, we both lost it laughing. Go walking over there. I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? How you doing? How you been? He's like, oh, what's going on, man? What's going on? I said, hey, by the way, I said, I got your greatest hits at home. I said, I was wondering, man, like if I brought it to you, if you could autograph it for me. He's like, what are you talking about? My greatest hits. And I told him the story. He never said a word to his brother. I told him the story and he was like, are you fucking serious? No way. And I said, I swear to God, I have it on my computer. Stop by the house one of these days and I will play it for you. He was like, and his girlfriend, she's screaming, laughing. Mind you, Dan was mad at me. Like, I'm going to say for like 6 months, you guys. He was so pissed off. And he swore to God that I did something to manipulate that to make it sound like that. I'm like, dude, I did nothing to it at all. It was unbelievably funny. I think he just felt like so much of an ass because of what he thought that he was haunted. And it really ended up being that. But it was so funny, you guys. I mean, I still, to this day, every time I think about it, it makes me laugh. And every now and then when I see him, because I see him all over the place, I'm like, hey, what's going on, horny ghost? And that's when I started calling him after that. He still gets pissed at me about it. His wife thinks it's a trip, but you know, I do too. Horny ghost Dan. It is a funny story, guys. Sorry. If I bored anybody with it, my apologies, but it was too funny for me. Yeah, it was really hard. You ain't lying. Too funny, though. Oh, yeah. Back to Molly's creepy ass. I hope you guys are ready for this. I hope the audio is that good, because I heard it through headphones, but you guys can't. But let me see what I got here. You sent me 2 of them, Molly.
Is that fucking people thing that we found a long time ago? They're like,
Okay, tell me if you guys heard that.
is that fucking people thing that we found a long time ago? They're like,
One more time.
is that fucking people thing that we found a long time ago? They're like,
Did you guys hear that? Anybody? Do I need to do this again? I hope it's loud enough for you guys to hear. If not, put some headphones on and listen to it.
is that fucking people thing that we found a long time ago? They're like,
You guys can't hear it, damn. There's like a noise. It's almost like a breathing. Okay, like I can't even describe it. But almost to the end, there's like a somewhere in the end of it. Okay, one more time.
is that fucking people thing that we found a long time ago? They're like,
All right, maybe if I play the other one when I take the voices out, it's just the audio, she said. Hold on. 1 second. Through headphones, it's so different and so clear. Where's it at? It says you can hear me with her breathing machine, and then her husband talks, and then you hear it. So the noise you're hearing, that like vibrating noise, is a breathing machine, okay? Oh, wait a minute. Here. Let's try this one, Molly. Well, that's the intro. But hold on a minute. Is it going to play?
is that fucking people thing that we found a long time ago? They're like,
Yeah, you can hear the breathing machine fluttering, and then it towards the end of it, you hear.
is that fucking people thing that we found a long time ago? They're like
A but the voice is so it's creepy. I'd have to take that and see if I can find a pro. Oh, she slowed it down. But anyway, it like I said, I had headphones on, so I heard it super clear and crisp. And it just sorry, it messed with me really bad because The voices are still there. Just one is audio file. The other, yeah. I got you, Molly. I got it. Like I said, I'd like to take that and find the right program and put it through it and see if I can get anything else out of it, because that was kind of crazy. All I heard now through the headphones, I hear all the fluttering noise. It almost sounded like some kind of a cricket or something, like being out in the woods. I didn't realize it was a breathing machine at first, but and then right towards almost 3/4 of the way through, you hear that. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. Yeah, that freaked me out, folks. Quite a way. Yeah, I'm gonna look and see what I can find, hun. I haven't messed with a lot of that stuff in years. Because we haven't done a lot of that stuff in a long time. But there are. Oh yeah, the poll. Thank you, Gina. It would help, wouldn't it? There are a lot of programs now that I can just upload and it would be no big deal. So the last poll, sorry guys, I got lost in my stupid story. Very funny, stupid story, but The Conjuring is 72% yes and 27% no. So that one won that. And where'd the other one go? And the other one, From Hell, was 83% yes and 16% no. So to me, it looks like From Hell won that one. Do we agree? Or do we disagree? Because if we disagree, then we need to flip a coin. Because there's no other way to solve that. At least that I can think of. Yeah. Like a CPAP machine makes the same noise, April, exactly. They have a security camera that records all the time. Yeah, that's what you need to send me, Molly. It's like overnight videos on your security camera. If it's indoors, because I've had some stuff like that in here, and it's interesting. So you guys agree that it would be From Hell, the story of Jack the Ripper. Yes, yes, yes. Or no. Mrs. M says yes, and Miss Gina says yes. So if everybody agrees, then it would be next Monday, or this, coming Monday. It would be that evening. We'd be doing the true story, which that's going to be hard. But there's a couple that I know of that are like very, 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 very on pointly close to the actual story of Jack the Ripper. There's about 35,000 different versions of that story that have been put out, but there's a few that I know that say it's true documented instances and situations about Jack the Ripper. So we can go through that. So that would be next Monday, everybody. If you'll join, which you guys will see me before them, but next Monday night, if you'll join me, we will be telling the true story of Jack the Ripper, folks. Woo. I'm excited. I don't know about you. And we're still going to do The Conjuring, April, down the road. But I feel that I should give you guys a choice in these every time to choose which one we're going to do. We're going to go through them all eventually. But it was probably the From Hell, Gina. If you didn't see that movie, that's the one that Johnny Depp played in. And it was basically their version of the Jack the Ripper story is what it was. So there will be a morning show Monday, and then we will have our yes, David, that is a fact. From what I understand, he was. But he lived in England, folks. This is where all this shit went down, was in England. Oh, it was a documentary. Oh, okay. Cool. I love documentaries. I absolutely love documentaries. Yeah, there'll be a morning show on Monday. And then, as we normally have, and then I'll do the evening show like tonight. Hopefully it will be better tonight, because tonight was a disaster. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. Please, please, even if you didn't, just for me, hit that like button for me. And if you can, guys, please leave me some form of a comment. You know what I'm saying? Same what, Heather? Oh, what did you say? Yes. Oh, like I said, I want to give you guys choices. You know, I think that's fair. Eventually, we're going to go through them all, but I just want to give you a choice as to what you would like to see first. About loving documentaries. Oh my God, yes. I could sit all day long, and I've done this, and watch documentaries on stuff, especially stuff like this. I could do it all day, nonstop, back to back, one after another. Such a hard decision. Well, just look at it like this, April. Eventually, just say it to yourself. Eventually, Dago is going to make us go through all of these. It's just my choice to pick which one we do first. That's all. That's all. So I just think it's fair that I give you guys a choice. Some people are anxious to know about one now rather than before. So, but anyway, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Folks, again, if you know of anybody that's not in here that would be interested in coming into this channel and joining the family here and doing what we do on a regular basis, guys, if you think they'd even be remotely interested, I think I can make them fully interested if they come on in at least one time. Yeah, that's what you hear, Michelle. That's the way it is. Like I said, because we need to grow, folks. Try my best to make the best possible channel I can. My internet doesn't want me to do that, but I'm trying to. Either way, I had a good time. I always have a ball with you guys. I thank you all so much for joining me this evening for episode 2 of the new Truth Behind the True Stories. No, I said that wrong. I'm so tired right now. I had this once and I can't remember it right now. The true crime true stories behind Hollywood's horror and thriller movies. Something like that. We'll just put it that way. But thank you guys again for joining me twice today, folks. For most of you, I should say, for being here, for supporting me, and just for being who you guys are and being part of this community. I absolutely love you guys for that. For those of you that may have donated to the Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo, no matter how big or small it is so very much appreciated by my family and I both. Anybody that dropped any super chats, thank you so much for that. That is very much appreciated. And really, guys, all just being here, guys, means the whole world to me. Okay. And the support that you guys show me personally as a person and this channel means the whole world to me. I really do love you guys for that. Again, guys, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. And hopefully this gets better as we go. And don't forget, we still got our every day in the morning True Crime Cafe that we come in here and do our think tanks and throw some things around and try to figure out some of these crazy cases that we deal with, guys, because there are a lot of them. And don't forget, folks, Nicola Bully is not in the river. She's not in the river, guys. Just remember that one. But anyway, you guys, you have a great rest of your night. There's a grand possibility you'll see me tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. If so, besides that, guys, don't forget to love yourselves, to love each other. Don't change anything about yourselves because you are the beautiful people, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.